Of sunshine. Clouds will be on the increase tonight, but we're dry. Overnight low temperature 60. Tomorrow, a little front swings through the area, but it's a dry front with mostly cloudy skies early, then clearing later. I've got us around 74 for the high tomorrow, 45 for a low on Tuesday night. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine. We'll be in the mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday, up to about 86 Friday with plenty of sun. Not a bad week ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
The Alabama Supreme Court has cleared the way for another state execution. The case involves James Osgood, who was convicted of rape and murder of Tracy Brown in Chilton County back in 2010. The state Supreme Court has approved the request to put Osgood to death by way of lethal injection. Governor Ivey has now set up a time frame of 36 hours in which that execution can be done, starting at midnight Thursday, April 24th, and ending by Friday morning. Ivey says she has no plans of issuing clemency to Osgood in this case. The execution will take place at the William C. Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
An arrest was made in Dale County that involves a deadly hit and run. Tony Atkins of Georgia has been identified as the suspect who did not stop to render aid after hitting a bicyclist with his vehicle. The fatality has been identified as Troy Williams, and the accident occurred along Highway 123. Atkins was arrested in Georgia and will be extradited back to Alabama. A farm accident occurred in Houston County and killed 78-year-old farmer James Knight. WDHN reports that the accident occurred in Wicksburg, and Knight was pronounced dead at the Flowers Hospital. The U.S. Coast Guard out of Mobile is responding to a vessel adrift report that it came in over the weekend. The Coast Guard continues its search for the vessel. It was spotted at the mouth of Biloxi Bay with its motor running, but no one on board. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For many years, my team and I have worked diligently to provide our veterans with top-notch service, as it is our honor to serve those who have served us in the armed forces. Madeline and I are certified veteran lending specialists. Nationwide, there are over 22 million veterans that qualify to purchase a home through the VA loan program. Yet less than 2 million of them currently have a VA home loan. Many lenders do not keep up with the ever-changing guidelines and benefits of the VA loan program. They are intimidated by the program, resulting in many veterans not obtaining VA loans. This is unacceptable. The VA home loan program offers service members and veterans with 100% financing. You've already paid your down payment. If you are currently serving or have honorably discharged, we would love an opportunity to discuss how the VA program can serve you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Thank you for your service. NMLS 1586-36A, Equal Housing Lender.
You want your floors to scream new, fresh, and stylish. But if yours are groaning, tired, old, and outdated, you're in luck. Because the Prattville Spring Sale is your opportunity to revitalize your floors while you save on the best brands available, including Mohawk, with perfect and professional installation and Prattville's unbeatable lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Start shopping now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels. I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of it.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark.
Beautiful Monday out of Montgomery, Alabama. That's where we're broadcasting from, Sweet Home, Alabama. Though there are days where I'm like, man, I don't know how sweet it is, but we can get to that. Especially looking at the Alabama legislature. In the studio with me, we have Troy Carrico. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, brother. Real good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, my man.
Anything exciting, anything eventful over the weekend?
Yes. We were going to have our great Saturday marksmanship and flamethrower, but the paths are so wet, but it just started to dry enough where I could get everything cut. So we're on for this weekend.
Okay.
So it's gonna be great.
Very cool. I think I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, brother.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And we don't have Eddie here today trying to stir up trouble.
I know.
Well, he's got a philosophy,
Always be closing.
Right.
Always be closing.
So I think he's doing something with the real estating today.
I think he is too.
But the top headlines, and we can go to some of the clips here in a second. President Trump meets with El Salvador's President Bukele,
I think it is,
at the White House. And Bukele himself says, I will not return, quote unquote, terrorist Abrego Garcia to USA. He is an El Salvadoran criminal. Yeah. So, and we got a clip of Stephen Miller,
That's
the
amazing.
top advisor to the president, going off on this. Another big headline today. This is more economic. NVIDIA, one of the number one chip manufacturers in the world, alongside TSMC.
Yep.
NVIDIA to manufacture AI supercomputers completely in the United States.
Wow.
Pretty cool stuff.
That's great.
Trump goes off over the weekend after I believe the Russians did an attack into Sumy.
It was in Sunni, and it was brutal. There was
killed a lot of civilians.
Dozens killed. Yeah, targeting.
So Trump goes off not only on Zelensky and Putin, but also on Biden, calling it Biden's war. And then talk about a shift. The Iran nuclear talks held over the weekend show positive signs.
Yeah, they do.
And of course, now the hard part of the big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
That begins now. The reconciliation process actually begins. You have the president's top economic advisor saying recession is 100% not happening this year, and 62% of companies predict a recession at the same time. We had a few exemptions that are temporary over the weekend. Howard Lutnick saying the exemptions are temporary and separate tariffs for phones, chips, electronic products are quote unquote coming soon. These products are exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in a month or two. So this is not like a permanent sort of exemption. Trump is just clarifying that these can't be negotiated away.
Right.
While China's latest response is to halt critical rare earth exports to the U.S., it's like one of the few cards they have.
Yeah.
So they are using that card.
Yes, they are.
One guy, I actually was talking about him last week. Well-known attorney here in town. I got to know him when I got to know, I believe, his adopted son.
Okay.
We played rock and roll together in the basement of his house. But a longtime Montgomery attorney and Fitzgerald Museum founder Julian McPhillips dies on the 100th anniversary weekend of The Great Gatsby.
Wow.
So it is fitting, and what a beautiful museum.
Yeah.
Very well known here in the community, and the McPhillips wanted the Fitzgerald literary and social legacy to live on in Montgomery.
That's great.
The Fitzgerald couple's connection to Alabama were many. Scott Fitzgerald was stationed at Maxwell Field.
Yes, he was.
He met vivacious young Montgomery socialite Zelda Sayer, a daughter of Alabama Supreme Court Justice. Zelda was hard to catch, but Scott did it. Well, it's always those crazy ones, ain't it? But
There's an interesting story about them. I mean, if you read about it, they never lived in that house. They built it, and it was like going to be their house, but they never lived. And then she ended up, sadly, in a mental institution dying.
Yeah.
It's just very sad.
It is.
I mean, they were such a glamorous.
Well, I was saying last week, and I just want to say R.I.P. to Julian McPhillips.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Last time I saw him, I don't think he remembered me, but that's all right.
Okay.
That that happens with life and as you're
Good
you get
memories,
older.
right? With you.
But good memories there. And I was saying last week, Hemingway's great with his sort of terse, hammering prose.
Yeah.
I think he has a whole collection of essays I've read through. It was years ago, called Men Without Women.
Oh yeah.
And it's a talk about manly prose.
It's C.S. Lewis embodied having chested men.
And then if you really want, your mind blown and you want to really test yourself, pick up anything by William Faulkner.
I was going to say the dark Gothic Southern.
And there's some stories that I think parents would say the public libraries would need to pull.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, there are a few he wrote that were like,
there's
whoa.
a few that are quite questionable. In fact, I went to Ole Miss for my master's degree, so I would go to Roanoke occasionally. They would have. That was back when they had a bevy of authors out of Oxford, John Grisham, Barry Hanna, Donna Tartt. And so they had all these different events there. And I just went through they had all these old letters there. And he was an interesting cat.
Yeah, I actually was given a full ride. I didn't accept this because I'm an idiot. I was given a full ride creative writing scholarship to Southern Miss.
Wow.
And I decided to go to Auburn instead. What could have been if I'd gone on that creative writing journey?
Wonder what track that would have took you on.
I don't know, who knows? But of all those authors of that time period, I always had a place in my heart for Fitzgerald. There's something about him he was able to capture the romance of life, including literal romance, but also just life. His lyrical prose, I kind of will live forever in my heart.
He's a great writer.
But that's sad to see the passing of Julie McPhillips. What a timely time to pass away. That cause the McPhillips so doggedly tried to keep here in Montgomery, and it still marches on. As I look at the Alabama legislature, I'm still sitting over here a little.
Last week.
Frosted.
Yes,
especially there was in the show before, as Alabama Unfiltered, former state senator Dick Brubaker called in, and I just want to thank you, Dick Brubaker, for saying what you said. I know you're not alone. I'm not alone. There are a lot of folks that are just shaking our heads at this massive tax increase on overtime workers.
It's ridiculous.
And I've heard a lot of the other side's arguments. I don't find them convincing. They're going to sit here and say, well, we've cut taxes by like 10%. And it's like, well, why can't you afford 15%? Especially when it's not like we're asking you to cut and give a tax exemption for overtime workers. It's one y'all put in place.
It's already put in place.
And it's like, keep it. We can afford it. It makes a lot of sense for hardworking folks. You have examples. Eddie, wish he was here, could go through like where you have to work overtime in many of these situations. So I just think it's frustrating that it seems like the powers that be, and they're not Satan or anything by any means, but they're always looking out for the status quo.
Well, and then couple that with the new gas tax hike that's getting ready to go on again. It's like, listen, I know those prisons are costing a lot of money, and I know that this new state house costs a lot of money. But we have a surplus, a huge surplus in this state. We don't need more taxes. We need more tax breaks. And you know this, when you cut that overtime tax back like they did, that gives disposable income to families to spend in our economy and juice the economy. Yeah. And they just don't, they're more interested in acquiring wealth.
Yeah, or just keep. I think they're worried that the Choose Act was so popular, and they want to fund that more, but they don't want to take away from the traditional system.
I think that's part of it too.
Well, it kind of seems like it's a veto by everyday people against the traditional system. If you had 37,000 folks sign up for the Choose Act,
how do you fix that? You vote them out of office.
Indeed, you do. And I think what you need is quite the candidate for governor. So I want to read here real quick. This is a short. I tried to keep it short and simple this week. But my op-ed will drop tomorrow morning, and it's a little bit of a provocative headline, but I think you'll see where I'm coming from. Coach Tuberville should stay in the U.S. Senate unless he has more to run on than just his name. You never say never on anything, okay? Because things change. That's a recent quote from Coach Tuberville when asked about talk about a true like college football coach. You never say never to anything because things change. But for a few months now, one name has stirred earlier than expected speculation over the 2026 Alabama governor's race, Tommy Tuberville. No doubt Tuberville's name has long carried weight in Alabama, so much so that the honorable title of senator has proven almost unnecessary over these last 4 years. Coach Tuberville is the man most folks in Alabama still know and love. Football is just that big in this state, and God bless Alabama for it. For instance, pick the top 3 names in Alabama politics beside Tuberville. Governor Kay Ivey Sugar, Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, what's honking goose, and even United States Senator Katie Britt.
Yeah.
No offense, y'all, but Nick Saban will always have the bigger name. National titles just carry that much more sway in Alabama than political titles. Indeed, I suspect the only way a truly ambitious Alabama politician could ever come to practically eclipsing Coach Saban's name would be to win the United States presidency. Now that would be a sight to see.
Yeah.
That said, Coach Tuberville doesn't need another political title added to his name, though his name does hold enough currency to acquire any political title in Alabama for which he may desire to campaign. Given Coach Tuberville's name ID, he would be almost unbeatable in a race to be Alabama's next governor. Though arguments over his residency have already begun to excite the usual bucket of crabs here in Alabama, I suspect Tuberville could easily win the 2026 gubernatorial race, no matter how many times the opposition may brand him Florida man. But the question isn't whether or not Tuberville's name is enough to win the governor's chair. It is. The question is, to what agenda is Tuberville willing to lend his name? Ever since the Governor Tuberville rumors started circulating at the beginning of this year, I have wondered just what his agenda for Alabama might be. Would Coach look to overhaul the state government with a visionary populist approach? Or would he simply be lending his name to rebrand more of the same long pushed by Alabama's big mules? And to your credit, Yellow Dogs.
Yellow Dog.
Again, Tuberville doesn't need another political title, and there may very well be more downside than upside in procuring another one. Yes, Tuberville's name may be a sure thing for victory in a 2026 gubernatorial campaign, but once seated in the governor's chair and brought down to the level of state politics, Coach could very well see diminishing returns over just a couple years, and even a massive deleveraging and devaluation of his legacy. If Coach doesn't enjoy the petty politics of the United States Senate, why would he expect to enjoy the more petty politics of Goat Hill? If Coach doesn't enjoy living part-time in Washington, D.C., why would he expect to enjoy living part-time in Montgomery, of all places? You can never say never, okay? But unless Coach Tuberville is ready to gamble his name on an agenda of big and bold Alabama first change, I say he should stay in the U.S. Senate until it's time to retire to the loveliest village on the plains. So that's my statement. Coach, if you're going to run, do it big and bold. It doesn't just need to be like, oh, we love Coach, because we do. We love Coach, and we're going to vote for him, and whatever happens, happens.
That was a great op-ed. Great op-ed. And I'll tell you what you hit. You hit two things. One, why would you trade the pettiness of DC, where you have still some degree of respectability and love by the Trump administration to come to this cesspool? and it really is. It's he would find himself stymied so many times. And listen, you hit it best. His legacy could become a negative for him as being governor.
Well, you sound like somebody who actually has had a run-in recently with the legislative process.
I spent a lot of time over there, and I'm going to tell you something. I feel like I got to take a shower every time I come out of there.
Well, and it's like, I've been saying for a while more as a joke, but it might be literally true that Mean Girls is a great political documentary.
Listen, that is one of the references in that.
Yeah, it's like Mean Girls, except they're ugly.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, not that. Y'all, some of y'all are all right.
Mean men.
Some of y'all are all right looking. I'm just saying you don't look like those ladies. All right. Yeah, and it is amazing how it is. It's high school.
It's like a 13-year-old sleepover, and they're not. Make them go home. They're not playing right, or whatever. It's just like you watch this dance that they do, and it's kabuki theater is what it is. Kabuki
There's
theater.
so many decisions made in the back room before anybody ever gets to vote on the floor in public.
And Joey, they have this knack for posting a public hearing, and then they change it at the last minute to a different room. It's just move the ball, hide the ball.
Well, and I'm all ready to strategically empathize with folks. Like, I'm not in the governor's chair. I'm not the Speaker of the House. I'm not even a sitting member.
Heavy's the head that wears a crown.
Which, honestly, if I was a sitting member, I've learned the value of knowing when to shut the F up, all right?
That's right.
And, you pick your shots. There's another annoying thing. It's annoying to the status quo guys who are in these chairs and they have to play all these different interests and necessities.
Sure.
Almost, if not more annoying, is the person who, every day is like, I'm Mr. Smith gone to Washington. It's like, no, you're not. Pick your shots. Like, there are moments where you can take a stand, but if you're taking a stand every day, it's
jaded after a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Please spare us. So it's just it's a mess over there. I mean, it
really
could be
is.
worse. And maybe that's the best argument for the Alabama legislature. It could be worse.
It could look like Haiti's parliament, I guess.
Right. But that's not a great argument.
No,
if that's the best
not.
one, you go, it could be worse. We could go back to the days, 20 years ago when we're in prorations. Oh no, the government had to cut money. Oh no, that's so crazy. That's so terrible. What? They've only got 9 days left, I think, in working days in the session.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Now there are whispers of and by the way, fighting back allergies. It hit me last week, Friday, something fierce. So excuse the sniffles. But now I just lost my train of thought.
You said we were talking about it ending in 9 days, and you said, but there is talk of
a special session.
Yes,
and the special session would be to revisit the congressional districting.
This is true.
Brand new District 2. Congratulations to Shamari Figures. He is the new congressman seated in the brand new District 2. A very smart guy, well-connected guy. It was interesting how both Shamari Figures and Carolee Dobson were accusing one another of being carpetbaggers.
Yeah, I know.
Fascinating there. But as much as we've seen Terry Sewell, the longtime Democrat in the Alabama delegation, she's raising her voice like crazy. I think Terry's a little drunk again. But, aren't we all? So not criticizing you too much, Terry. It sounds like you're a lot of fun.
Up at the governor's mansion.
But, sugar.
Yeah,
but Shamari Figures, I haven't heard a peep out of the guy.
Yeah, been quiet, very.
And I
quiet.
think he's actually taken some votes that are a little more playing along with the Republican.
If you look at his record, I would consider him a moderate. I think he's approachable on certain things. He does not seem to be. I think he's scared to give into the progressive side of that party because it really has bore rotten fruit for them, hasn't it? When the progressives have displaced the moderates, I think he sees it. I don't know if I want to be with AOC and that crew over there.
Well, and he probably realizes that if we do have a special session where you get new districts, and he still wants to be the congressman from District 2 as a Democrat, he's going to have a heck of a fight ahead of him.
You ain't kidding.
If things are a little more balanced out in the district.
Well, it looks like we've got the case that's going to probably be the precedent for Alabama over in Louisiana being it's that decision's forthcoming any day. So
but I think as far as while we're sticking on the Alabama legislature, I think gambling's dead.
Yeah.
Dead as a doorknob.
Never had a chance.
I think Greg Albritton, who was the most recent person to try to put together votes, said it's going to be dead for the next 25 years. And good riddance. I really am a live and let live guy. You can go to hell in whatever handbasket you're choosing. Like, if you're my friend, I might say you might not want to do that.
Right.
But as far as like, if I had to rule the world or this state, you can do all sorts of stuff that I think is bad for you and wrong. Just don't hurt other people and don't take their stuff.
The true libertarian way.
But when I look at this, every gambling bill in recent memory, it comes across as a way for people in government to hurt people and take more of their stuff.
Sure.
It just seems absurd. So I'm kind of glad it's dead.
Yeah, me too.
I'm happy about that, at least for now. Let's go to line 1 real quick. You're on there. Who's this?
Soldier Boy.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, I love what I said this morning. They had an announcement. The Louisiana governor said he thinks the tariffs are doing great for the shrimpers, for the shrimpers.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that place? Baton Rouge? What is that place?
Viola Battery?
Yeah, that's it. I don't speak no French. But he said it's been helping them with, foreign shrimp and fish and stuff and so forth. He says it's been helping them. He says, considering we're in a state, he says, it doesn't want to. People don't want to work. People can't read and write, and don't know what damn bathroom to go to. I gotta love that governor. I thought he was a Democrat. Is he Republican?
Well, I don't even know.
I think he's a Democrat, but I think he's a funny dude.
Yeah, but you know what? That's smart about that. If you're a Democrat, you don't want to be with the Democrats sold their damn soul to the progressives.
We just talked about this. This. You're spot on. That's what we were talking about.
You're spot on. They sold themselves, and they feel they can't come back.
Yep.
And like you said, that guy is smart. If he wants to be reelected, he's going to play it right, because I think a lot of people have got off the mindset of progressiveness.
And you've seen some moves. You've seen in particular Gretchen Whitmer. Though did you see the crazy photo of her holding her like whatever it is in front of her face?
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah, her folder in front of her face.
Go after her?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, they went after her like vicious. I was like, man.
And I just love Trump in the Oval Office, like, and Gretchen Whitmer's so smart and so wonderful. Like, just the over the top truthful hyperbole from the president.
Wait a minute, he didn't talk about her during the election like that.
No, he didn't. Well, that's Trump.
She was on the progressive train. She didn't want to get off of it.
I'm just saying, that's Trump. He will call you every name in the book if you are on his bad side. He'll even go, Zelensky started the war. And it's like, that's not even, that's not true.
I love it. Was it Bill Maher said, he asked Kid Rock what he's going to wear. He said, I'm not going to go in there and look and wear the Zelensky look. Watermelon head. I'm sorry.
The what?
That's the biggest watermelon head I've ever seen on the
Adam Schiff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
he's
you know what? I think Trump thinks of these one-liners off the top of his head, like Kennedy does.
No, I saw some clip of one of the women on Shark Tank. I can't remember her name, the blonde.
Yeah, I know you're
and she was saying that Trump's like secret genius or special talent is as soon as you walk into a room, he looks at you for just a minute or two. He knows exactly where to hit you and to manipulate you. Whether it's charming or criticism, he knows exactly where to hit a person.
Well, Jerry, Joe, you remember when he was during his first time in his primaries, he's a counter puncher.
Yes.
He's not going to punch you. He's going to wait. And that's exactly what he did to everybody up on that damn, debate. It was bad.
Oh, and it continues, and he'll give you praise when you come to his side, even after beating the crap out of you.
I think he's
one thing I like about him too, his loyalty is amazing. He is a loyal person. First of all, he didn't want anybody with facial hair, I heard. But then his son talked to him who's got facial hair.
Yeah, you got to go with J.D. Vance. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know what he is? He's a master at political judo. He uses momentum and force to his favor, and then turns it back on him. And I think that's a very apt description of him.
And I think the Democrats will be lost in the wilderness for some time longer. It's going to take. I'd imagine it's going to be somebody whose name we don't know, who is actually young, has money, is very gifted at communicating, and. Everybody's like the Democrats are dead. You're a fool. Though they're not.
No. But right
they're just
now,
lost in the wilderness for now.
Yeah.
And J.D. Vance, every time he opens his mouth, he makes Trump look good.
Oh, sure.
That's his job. That's his job.
That's the style. And every vice president we had the last 2 terms, oh my God, every time they opened their mouth. Jesus. We had Kamala. And who's that other guy, Mr. Tampon? Oh, God.
Oh, Tim Walz. Yeah, it's almost like you had the race to the bottom where Biden's like, who can I pick? Or it isn't. They want to. Kamala. Oh, the Kamala. Nobody will want her to want me to resign if she, not a joke, man. And then Kamala's like, who can I pick that's even
worse?
Tim Walz.
Worse than I am.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What was he was he a congressman or a representative, Vance? Was he governor?
No, he was a
senator. He was an Ohio State senator, Ohio federal senator.
You notice that he was the first one there in New Palestine when they had that train derailment.
Yes, he was.
And all those chemicals. Yep. He was out there.
And do you know?
And he said, and he told the EPA, if you think this water is clean, he says, come out here and drink it.
You know what's interesting about that story is Progressive Rail was the train that derailed, I believe. And do you know who owns Progressive Rail?
God,
Daddy Ainsworth. Will Ainsworth's father. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
He's that's where their money's from. It's Progressive Rail. Yep, that Progressive Rail that spills everywhere and they clean it up before
that probably cost them an arm and a leg. Damn.
Hey, where was the EPA at and the Secretary of Transportation at?
That's
Buddha fetch.
Well, listen, here's the deal. And I'm not joking. Go back and research some of the state legislation that will sponsor. And I'm not trying to talk bad about him. He put forth a bill in Alabama some time ago when he was a state senator that gave the state authority to investigate train derailments and water contamination to a private sector company that was contracted to do it. And I believe, like in Palestine, up there in Ohio, northern Ohio, the NTSB didn't even get on site, and they had already remediated it. So they could not conduct a formal investigation.
Soldier Boy, can you hear that? It's almost like the governor's race has already started.
It is.
Well, the situation of New Palestine was, he never showed up for about 2 or 3 months after JD was there talking about it. JD got into it right away.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Well, and then, of course, Trump, when he visits, he can't help himself from making fun of the mayor for being fat. Like, and this guy, you can't miss him. You can't, like, he's trying to help out the town, and he's still making fat jokes.
Well,
My God.
I didn't like the mayor. I didn't like the mayor at all. He tried to play both sides of the damn fence. I didn't like that.
Well, wouldn't you? I mean, like, in a situation like that, you get all the help you can get.
Palestine's not much of anywhere. I've been there, and it's, yeah.
But I appreciate it, Soldier Boy. Appreciate the calls always. 272-9228. Man, I'm already hungry, and we still got like 2.5 hours to go here. But folks, if you want a quick lunch, like say takeout, stop by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. Or maybe you're looking for a place to sit down, dine in tonight. Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. They're at Main Street in Millbrook. They really put on a great spread, a barbecue and all the fixins on the side. And for lunch, they do a meat and 3 daily lunch special. So you get a meat choice, a few sides, 3 sides, and some corn muffins. And I was like, wasn't that 4 sides?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually 1 meat, 3 sides, and corn muffins. And so I'm looking at things like fried chicken, fried pork chops, country fried steak, grilled pork chops, hamburger steak, fried catfish. On the sides, you're looking at lima beans, barbecue beans, mac and cheese, potato salad, black-eyed peas, mashed potatoes and gravy, sweet potato casserole, fried okra. Oh my goodness.
Everything I need.
And then, of course, when you look at their barbecue menu, if you want to look early, just go to smokehousepitbbq.com. And you can see this entire delicious menu, as well as their breakfast menu they do Tuesday through Sunday in the morning. So y'all check them out today. It's Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. They're back to the original recipes that made their barbecue so famous right there at Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. I got to hit a quick break, but we'll come back to some of these calls after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel, or peeks down at it for a glance, or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, I'm Allison Chandley, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Did you know that more Americans listen to the radio than use Facebook each week? Did you know that 77% of listeners would try a brand or product endorsed by their favorite radio personality? Contact me, Allison Chandley, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
We've got a fairly good forecast for the week ahead. Storm-free, comfortable temperatures. In fact, today a warm-up is underway with a high temperature up to about 83. Plenty of sunshine. Clouds will be on the increase tonight, but we're dry. Overnight low temperature 60. Tomorrow, a little front swings through the area, but it's a dry front with mostly cloudy skies early, then clearing later. I've got us around 74 for the high tomorrow, 45 for a low on Tuesday night. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine. We'll be in the mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday, up to about 86 Friday with plenty of sun. Not a bad week ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. You can always like and subscribe on YouTube, Joey Clark Live, or just follow me on X at the Joey Clark. And we broadcast both places. In the studio with me today, we have Troy Carrico. And you said a little later we should have somebody calling in?
Yes, we're going to have, today is and I forgot my flag today. I just feel naked. Anyways, today is the 77th birthday of the United States Air Force Reserve component. And it's what's important about that is, Joey, we've talked about this with Cinco and some other people. The Reserve/National Guard component represents over half the combat power of all of our military. So it's very important to take note of it. And I saw the governor out there chirping, "Oh, we support our service members and happy birthday." And I blasted her saying, you shouldn't have fired Cinco if you really cared about the Guard and the reserves. But the truth of the matter is this: it is their birthday, and a good friend of mine, Colonel Chuck Holland, former B-52 driver and a big wig over at the LeMay Center for Air Warfare, and Cinco worked for him over there. We'll have a quick little 5-minute ditty on the history of it. And he's an interesting cat, Joey. He worked on the SALT I and the START treaties at STRATCOM. He's got some really, really good stories about the compliance with Russia and about nuclear weapons, de-escalation. And then he also rounded out his career as the defense attaché for Bolivia right prior to the revolution they had down there. So he's a great guy. Great guy.
Well, I look forward to that call. Yeah. I really did. Let's go to Babs. Hey, Babs, how you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm mad as fire. Did Meemaw sign the bill to put the tax back on overtime?
Yep.
Oh no, they just they didn't have to do that. It's just going to sunset in June.
Sunset in June 24th.
So they haven't prevented that. They haven't extended it.
Yeah.
So what do we? I can't even call my senator. I'm gonna say this. I don't have said it before. Clyde Chambliss is my senator.
Yeah.
When this gas tax business came up, I called and told him. I said, please, I'm against this. He said, the majority of my constituents are for it.
That's what they always
I don't
say.
feel like I don't feel like I can call him about anything. But what can we do to stop that? My grandson makes $18 an hour.
Yep.
He can't even afford an apartment.
Yeah.
His only salvation is overtime. And it's ridiculous. The majority of the people that need the overtime are generally, well, they're not poor people, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
They're
working class.
blue-collar
Yeah.
people. That's right. Yep. So check it out, Babs. House Bill 467 is still in play, and I got to be honest with you, Anthony Daniels. I've started to like some of the he's been taking up the sword against some of these yellow dog Democrats that say they're Republicans and for the people and the worker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, Babs, that's still in play. It probably won't pass because it's a minority movement, but there are people fighting. And here's my thoughts. You want to know how you get back at this? 2026, you vote out the people that are up there right now in Goat Hill. That's what we got to do. And it starts now. So,
I voted against Meemaw, and Clyde didn't even have anybody running against him.
I know. That's unfortunate. Very
It's
unfortunate.
just despicable. All right, gentlemen. Joey, as usual, I listen every day. I had knee surgery a couple months ago.
How you doing?
And I'm doing great. Just getting back in the groove. But I've been listening. I honestly have. So, you know, I love the show. So,
Well, God bless you,
thank you
grandson.
so much.
It's a good thing we got your people like your grandson out there working hard. Thank God we got
Bless
that.
his heart.
Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
sir.
Cool.
Hey, he works at the steel mill down in Axis.
Holy cow.
Alabama.
That's a real job.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Babs. Let's go to Robert. You love the show today, sir?
Hey, always, Joey.
Love it.
I love your show, and I want to harken back to something that might have been a segment ago where we was talking about Donald Trump throwing the bombs, and he wouldn't hesitate to throw a bomb on someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say, Donald Trump, he throws bombs, but I guarantee you, if you knew the whole story, he never threw a bomb that was not thrown at him. In other words, the bomb was thrown at him, and he threw it back. And if he cares that much about himself, how much more so he cares about our country. And then for Bab,
sometimes he
that's
starts
what
it.
we're all in.
Yeah.
Huh?
But I would say sometimes Trump starts it. And he has a good reason to. But
Well, it could be over an issue, I guess.
Right,
But
Fat little rocket man will never have nuclear weapons.
I have a bigger mess than he does.
yeah, but see, that's one president to a leader of another country. In other words, that's the art of the deal. But when it comes to like what's her name that went over there to Ireland, she's living over there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Rosie
come on.
O'Donnell. Yeah. Oh my God.
Right. I think she threw the first bomb. All those issues, they're the first bomb. And in fact, the media is the first bomb. They just cannot give Trump a win. I just don't understand it. But it's funny to me because they think all of America thinks what they say. That's how that media operates.
Yeah.
That if I say it, this is what the people's going to believe. And that ain't the case. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
In
I
other
know.
words,
I know. Everybody's like
but
that
anyway.
raucous applause and reception of Trump at the big UFC fight. I thought everybody was mad about tariffs. It looks like they're just happy to see him.
heralded. Yeah.
Right, but the other side would say we're all hypnotized. No, we voted for him. We love him. He's doing what he's doing. But no, we don't worship him. I never said he was Jesus. And the thing is, they don't understand. They're creating more Republican voters than anybody else. And the reason being is they're just completely lost it. They're just,
Well, I mean, there's the daily grind and there's that sort of thing. But I think all this hinges on the big picture.
Sure.
The economy needs to be roaring in the middle of next year, and I think Trump's going to be all right. You add a few peace deals on top of that, it's even better. But we'll see, Robert, and I appreciate the call, man. Thanks, sir. 272-9228.
Jesus with a spray-on tan.
Yeah,
I like that idea. We could make maybe those little dashboard, saints that are on there. We could maybe
or you're reminding me of that movie Dogma, like Buddy Jesus.
Just like that. That's it. Buddy Jesus,
I have a feeling that's a little sacrilegious.
It is, but we're talking about Trump. He can do whatever he wants.
Right. Again, that's 272-9228. Did you see these women jumping a big rocket?
They were giggling and laughing on the way down.
Apparently. Here, I've got the clip.
It looks like a crew from the.
Okay, who do we got? We got Katy Perry. Yeah. We got Gayle King.
Yeah.
She Oprah's lover?
Was at one time, I thought.
I think they still talk.
She Lupus is stretch marks for her. Sorry.
I thought I was thinking about buying a loofah. Not anymore. They have to reach my back in a comfortable way.
That's all I can think about.
No, I'm not getting a loofah at all. There's Lauren Sanchez.
Yeah, there's Lauren Sanchez.
She's fake, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's listen in. This is after they go up in Bezos' rocket, which, by the way, the Blue Origin rocket is so, pardon me, phallic.
Oh, it looks like
it's ridiculous.
It's like something out of ancient Macedonia.
It looks like Dr. Evil's rocket.
Yeah. Big.
Yeah, I know. It's just like,
I
guess all missiles and rockets, right? But it's just there's something about this that there's a lot of subtext to it. But let's listen in as they go up to like low orbit and then they come back down.
And you will see a puff of smoke when it touches down. A puff of dust. Actually, yes, that's normal. A puff of dust, last milliseconds. Air cushion that would kick up the dust. It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
Jeez, wouldn't like to be in that crew. Sounds like a NSYNC concert. Bunch of screaming girls.
Well, they're real happy, and it's a success. Now, would you do something like that? Say you got it, like somebody donated a seat to you.
So it's funny you asked that, because let me tell you a little story. In 2006, my then wife, after I came back from Iraq a second time, got clearance from our command. And this is back when Russia was selling spots with a lot of different adventure things. And for $3,500, I got to go to St. Petersburg. I got to fly in a MiG-25 Foxbat, which has two Saturn style Ilya rocket engines on it. And we went to 70,000 feet. I got to see the curvature of the Earth. Damn. It was really cool for $3,500. I got a Russian flight suit. Before we went up, we drank 2 shots of vodka. When we came down, we killed the bottle. And I remember going, "You're my kind of Air Force." Yeah, it was fun. But my point is, I got to go up and see that. It was very. It's like a reckoning. With you look at it, you think, "Wow, this is."
And that's about what they experience.
It's a beautiful science. So yes, I would do that.
I mean, the space tourism thing's cool. And I mean, this is like the first all female, all this stuff. Yeah, whatever. Well, but I really like how SpaceX's missions actually do things.
Yes, it's very utilitarian.
Right. I like that. Including what the most recent one was, the From 2, which was all civilian.
Right.
But still, they were doing like 30-something different research experiments in the 5 days.
So a good friend of mine passed away last week. I went to his house to check on him, and he was deceased. He's a former Marine, but I was just at the funeral home with his daughter today. God bless you, John Blanche. You're a great American. They had options to launch into space your remains. Like $13,000 for one, $15,000, and I'm thinking, what's the truth in lending on it? How do I know you just don't dump?
Right? Are you trying to sell me a star or something? For a few bucks, we'll name it for you. Right.
So I thought that was interesting to see how that's part of our new modern culture, pop culture.
Well, I would definitely do something like that.
I'm sure you would. You do.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
And especially if Lauren Sanchez is
I was
just
saying, with that crew, it could be a lot of fun.
Extra padding. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Charles First. Hey, Joey.
Hey, Charles. What's going on, buddy?
I had an epiphany about what could be done in the future about gambling in the legislature to bring them down a notch and do things. If y'all want to bear with me to hear it.
Okay.
Lay it on us.
Okay. Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health, which that's your abortion that return things to the state. Got me? Okay. I got an idea of federally. We deal with the Butch Creek Indians, who are the main lobbyists, keeping us from just going and being able to buy a lottery ticket, not a bunch of power and a bunch of giving a bunch of money to our so-called acting like they're Republican legislators, okay? What I got to thinking was if we had a really good attorney general, and I like the one we got, but I'm saying in the future, someone gets elected, they can come at this to return the states, what got took from the states as far as gambling and a lot of other stuff by the Porch Creek Indians. You got me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We return it just like we did abortion along the same lines as what that ruling allows us to return to the states, and we cut down their ability to lobby, and we cut out their ability to keep the citizens of Alabama, who if you got to have a vote and know about it, we would want to, just by lottery ticket, not have a police force for the legislature, not have casinos right where they want it. And another thing, I really did like Senator Brubaker being on Scott's show too.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Albritton, after you do all the things that he does, and money waste-wise, gambling-wise, filibuster-wise, you get on here and you say we need some more money on 1819 News this morning for the State House, and we got to do more. I don't even know how he has the guts to get up and want more money. I mean, you get me? Or try to be in control of anything. But those were the things I wanted to throw at you there.
Well, Alberton's a veteran of the legislature and a pro, and I think he's a veteran too.
He is a veteran.
And so I think
but he's a bad veteran because he voted for SB 67.
But he'll right. sell whatever. This ain't his first rodeo, and he's gonna sell what he needs to sell.
Politician.
Now that's an interesting angle about bringing this back up to the Supreme Court, but it's just a matter of what would be the case that eventually rises up to that direction. You're talking about a big change of precedent when it comes to the Department of Interior and how we treat the Native American interests in this country. But I appreciate the call, Charles. Really do.
Hey, thanks a lot. Y'all take care.
This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services and their Pest Pro. Ashley and that fantastic team are ready to help you out. Basic pest control needs, or it could be you're looking to take care of termites. Like you don't know if they're there or not. You should get your property inspected.
Absolutely.
Before you have a very, very, very expensive problem. Like if those silent destroyers get in there and start eating through, don't even let them get close to that home you've put so much money in. And then, of course, if you're looking for mosquito treatment, they can also do that at Pest Pro Services. And, the mosquitoes, I've seen a few big ones.
Yeah,
but it's only going to get worse.
It's those the tiger ones that are black. They're out bad. Right now.
And if, I've done it. We've all done. You've lit the candle. That doesn't
do it.
You've lit the tiki torches. Well, that was before Charlottesville. We had the tiki torches around. They kind of ruined that one for us. Or maybe you have some spray and like, hey, Grandma, after dinner, let's spray you down with this so we can go enjoy the front porch. No, why not, instead of spraying Grandma, actually have your yard treated direct?
That's right.
To where it nips it in the bud. It cuts out the problem before it even begins. And it's not like, they show up once. No, when you get Pest Pro on that mosquito control, they're showing up, I think, 8 times a year.
That's amazing.
At the peak times where mosquitoes might be popping up. So check out Pest Pro Services today. You can always learn more about their services at ppsriverregion.com, or just search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces, or just call them direct, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that fantastic team that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment.
Well, the baby liked it.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit crosbyelectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Hey, having a great Monday, Joey. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm fighting the allergies now. They finally hit me for the season, but I'll power through. And I was trying to keep up with all the latest when it comes to the tariffs and exemptions to particular tariffs. And so it looks like the Dow is up just shy of a percent right as we speak. But what's driving this? What are some of the latest in the trade?
Yeah, so, over the weekend, it looks like Trump has backed off tariffs on some types of computer products. I think it was chips, computers, iPhones, smart pads, things like that. And obviously the market has responded favorably today. I guess more concerning is just it's difficult to know as someone who's managing money professionally, which way the wind will blow on any given day. And he seems to make these announcements sometimes on the weekend when there's no market action, or sometimes in the middle of a day, like he did last week when he walked back, the tariffs, the ceilings that he had put in place. So more than anything, in a time like this, it's important to just have a strategy and stick to it and try not to get caught up in the, day-by-day movements of the market. But yeah, it's never a bad thing when the market's going up, and all three major indices, NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P are headed north today. So we're grateful for that. And yeah, also on your note about allergies, man, about 3 weeks ago, I started taking my Zyrtec every morning. When the pollen starts to collect on top of my car, I've got to have some medication in the morning or I get real sick.
Yeah, it's and it gets worse as we get older. That's what Troy here was telling me too.
That's true.
Yeah, it just gets. We'll have to keep fighting that for years to come. But before I let you go, let's real quick let folks know again about Invista Advisors. They should. Everyday listeners should be aware already. But folks just tuning in, what can y'all do for folks when it comes to their financial future there at Invista?
Yeah, so at Invista Advisors, we're a full service registered investment advisory, and we primarily focus on helping people achieve financial freedom. And that means something different for everyone, but it can be something from planning for retirement or putting your kids through college or, purchasing your first home or, getting valuation on your business. Anything in the realm of finance that requires, professional help is what we have to offer. So if you've got any questions in any part of your financial life, feel free to pick up the phone and give us a call. And if we can't help you, we'll at least point you in the right direction.
That number is 387-0094. And when you call them up at 387-0094, be sure to mention you heard Austin Barenko on the radio with Joey Clark and you want to start a conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joe, and you guys have a great week.
You too, Austin. Again, that's Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor, and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Second hour coming up after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. European officials and President Trump have condemned Russia's deadly missile attack on Ukraine's Sumy. Ukrainian officials say 2 ballistic missiles on Sunday morning hit the heart of Sumy, a city less than 20 miles away from Ukraine's border with Russia, as people gathered to celebrate Palm Sunday, killing at least 34, wounding 117. Germany's Chancellor-designate Friedrich Merz described the Sumy attack as a serious war crime. Talks between Iran and the United States over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program appear ready to leave the Middle East. An Italian source says the next round would take place in Rome. The talks taking place in Rome on Saturday. On Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow is up 199 points. The Nasdaq adding 45. This is SRN News.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. It's Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now when financing or refinancing Fellowship Home Loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process, and that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, Equalizing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
We've got a fairly good forecast for the week ahead. Storm-free, comfortable temperatures. In fact, today a warm-up is underway with a high temperature up to about 83. Plenty of sunshine. Clouds will be on the increase tonight, but we're dry. Overnight low temperature 60. Tomorrow, a little front swings through the area, but it's a dry front with mostly cloudy skies early, then clearing later. I've got us around 74 for the high tomorrow, 45 for a low on Tuesday night. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine. We'll be in the mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday, up to about 86 Friday with plenty of sun. Not a bad week ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
ASD Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASD.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A man killed in a Friday night shooting in Montgomery has been identified. Travis Jackson, owner of the Rich Life clothing store at Eastdale Mall, was shot in the 1500 block of Hale Street just before 9 p.m. Jackson was taken to a local hospital where he later died of his injuries. Suspect and motive remain unknown. Well-known Montgomery attorney Julian McPhillips has died. McPhillips passed away Saturday after a long battle with illness. Julian McPhillips was a prominent lawyer who rose to the rank of Alabama's Assistant Attorney General in 1975. McPhillips and his wife Leslie founded the Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald Museum in Montgomery. Julian McPhillips was 78 years old. Alabama is one of 7 states that have until May 1st to file federal income taxes, according to the Internal Revenue Service. The IRS announced the federal disaster tax relief in October due to Hurricane Helene. The May 1st deadline applies to all Alabama individuals who have a 2024 federal income tax return, normally due tomorrow on April 15th. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. an equal housing lender.
Jenny King, the king of clean, delivers reliable, high-quality commercial cleaning services through a proven franchise model that empowers local business owners. Jenny King's franchise owners receive the training, support, and resources needed to succeed, while clients benefit from tailored cleaning solutions backed by a global brand. Jenny King ensures consistent results, trust, and success for everyone we serve. Go to JennyKingCleans.com and find out how we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
iTaco has delicious, authentic Mexican food. Enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner at iTaco. Tasty shredded beef street tacos, even lamb tacos on Saturdays. That's iTaco on Decker Lane, right across from Arrowhead off the Atlanta Highway.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play.
Shut up, silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Second hour here of the program. A lovely day out of Montgomery, Alabama, other than all the pollen. Troy Carrico here in the studio with me. We've had a few comments roll in online. Some folks asking me about, I think 3 or 4, 5 people all sent this to me. What do you think about the documentary on YouTube about Montgomery's crime and gang violence? I think it's a very raw look at, fortunately, not a big part of Montgomery, but it helps explain, like when you see murders that popped up in particular and since 2020, helps put actual meat on the bone. Because I would ask folks about this, and they give the usual, no, just go directly to the source.
Right.
And it's harrowing. I mean, the most harrowing part are the guys that don't want peace, are the guys that are like, no, this is my life. This is the life I'm living. I would just encourage, it's on my Facebook page, just go watch it direct. Again, I don't think this is like, you could go throughout, I'm born and raised here. You could live in Montgomery and not notice any of this stuff. But when it starts to really flare up like it did the last few years, there's some folks that have a problem with the headline, the provocative headline for the YouTube video, where people are killed in cold blood every day. Well, okay, if you look at the actual numbers, it's not every day, but it's like where people are killed in cold blood every week.
Like the mayor's office?
Yeah. And so I would just encourage folks to go watch it. Again, it's on my Facebook page. It's all over Facebook with all the Montgomery groups.
I'll check it out.
I don't know. It's just, I'm not even going to try to characterize it. I would just encourage folks to go watch it because, I mean, there's a lot of language. There's a lot of rough living. They blurred out all the firearms they had, which it looked like they were packing quite a bit.
Sure.
They were holding up their shirt saying, the guy asked, have you been shot at? He goes, oh, I've been shot like 10 times. And you can see where he's been stitched up in the abdomen and like all the, man. And it's just like like one guy was shot in the face when he was 16.
Nice.
And so you're just looking at these places where you're like, and the guy who's, I guess, British who did this said, this looks like a third world country, this part of Montgomery. He ain't wrong.
It's like a demilitarized zone in some places.
It's really crazy.
Do they shoot sideways like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
When you come out to shoot, I'll teach you that's not the proper form to shoot.
No.
That's why they're not hitting a lot. They're hitting innocents.
Well, and isn't there like certain, once you get really good, you can kind of have exceptions to the rules, right?
Yeah, but
you're turning a corner.
Doing that kind of thing. Like
no, yeah, you have no control.
Because you're turning the barrel and the gun's usually going down. But I'm just saying, unfortunately, that wounds innocents in the area because it's not what they're intending to shoot at.
And I've been saying for a while, we have to get our force levels up.
Yes.
And I know, we've given incentives like with we'll put down money. We'll give you an amazing deal to buy a house here in Montgomery if you become a police officer. We're giving you a pay raise if you're a police officer. The problem is think of somebody who wants to maybe be a police officer. Maybe they've been a police officer for 5 years somewhere else. Yeah. And they're like, time to change life, go live and work in a different city. Well, Montgomery, look at the benefits, especially compared to the cost of living.
Yeah.
Well, let me call up the Fraternal Order Police down there. And I think the problem is folks are going to say the mayor doesn't have your back. Now, that's not me saying that. That's a lot of law enforcement people saying that. And if that mentality's out there, I think there are ways the mayor can maybe correct that. But we have to get force levels up, because the more force levels you have, in fact, I think the less force you have to apply.
I agree. It's a deterrence. It's a big deterrence.
Yes. And we can talk about the long-term legacy things, like how do you get investment and opportunity. I'm just saying Montgomery is primed for investment and opportunity. You're already seeing major investment all around the perimeter of the city in particular. And yet, if you don't get education and crime under control,
you've got nothing.
Yeah. And people are going to go elsewhere. We got to get on top of it. I know there are plenty of folks that their job is to sell the city and, sell the soap, so to speak. And they don't like that this big YouTube video is done and all this stuff. But it is, as far as I'm concerned, I've never been in the middle of that, say, culture here in Montgomery. But let's say I've been adjacent. I've been in those parts of town when I was working for the city. And you get little reality checks as you watch it. I don't fear for my life. But honestly, if you go to certain parts of town, you are playing roulette to a certain degree.
I think I think the really hard part about it is, and I'm very vigilant with my operational security. I'm always carrying. And one of the things that I've learned is that, like in combat, it's the random act of chaos that you may not even be in that area, or you're at the gas station and something stray hits you.
Well, it's like now, like I grew up going to East Elm Mall.
Yeah.
Now I have, and I used to like to waste time. Wasting time ain't a bad thing. You walk through the mall, you waste time. You go get a pretzel or a slice of pizza, and you just look at all the stuff.
Or something. Yeah.
Right. It's like, man, what if I was God? Going into Hot Topic and stuff.
Oh man, that was your starter kit. That was your Goth starter kit.
Right. And then Spencer's
Black
Gifts,
fingernails.
and it's like where it's all these great posters right next to the cheap sex toys.
Right. They have the cheap sex toys there. Yeah.
Right. It's a wholesome.
Look,
this
Mommy,
was when
look
Montgomery
at-
was wholesome. Now let's go get a
Look at this
cookie
magic wand
at the Great American Cookie Company. Put the magic wand down.
It's vibrating.
Lavosa or whatever it is. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Okay.
Hocus pocus. Hope it don't focus in the eye.
Goodness gracious. No, and the city's definitely changed, and it's an absolute shame.
Do you think that there was a documentary put out about a year ago that I watched on Birmingham and their problems, and it's just this mirroring between the two cities is very real. Birmingham's got the same problem. You're not going to get any results until you put a cohesive and a decided force multiplier of good police on the street. So what are you going to do?
Well, and for instance, look at the Montgomery Area Crime Suppression Unit.
Yeah.
You did see numbers come down.
Sure.
You did see activity go down. I think they confiscated it just in the first 100 days, hundreds of weapons. And I'm sure it's more than that since. But say they get them on like a federal crime. How long does it take a federal grand jury to indict these guys?
I know. That's
so they're back out in the neighborhood. They've hopped off the porch. They're back out in the neighborhood, and they're just
back on the street. Yep.
Right.
And how about this? Why don't we stop the work right now in these prisons we're building, and let's make a contract with El Salvador and send them to El Salvador? It'd be cheaper.
That might be a deterrent.
That's not a bad idea.
No, and this idea has been floated for a long time, especially if it's juvenile. Why is there not something like a military school?
I agree.
Or instead of throwing them to juvie where they get right back out. In fact, like, does juvie really reform anybody? No, you send them to essentially like a military academy for guys that are up to no good.
Yep. And then mandate, here's the deal. Some judges used to do this, Joey. Okay. 5 years or diversion into behavior modification, and then you got to serve in the military.
All right.
And that was interesting when that would happen. And sometimes people will tell testimonies that it changed their life,
Well, and one fascinating part of that documentary were the folks who say the guys that do things right, go to college, they leave and they don't come back.
Of course they don't. Nothing here for them.
And honestly, if you escape what some of that documentary shows, or just drive around certain parts of Montgomery, why would you come back?
No, there's nothing, no incentive.
And so it takes one person after another. It's going to take a lot of things going in the right direction, make people making right decisions at the public and private level. And then it'll always, like everything in life, take a little bit of luck.
Yep.
And we'll see. Lots of luck. Montgomery, 272-9228. Now, speaking of El Salvador, the president's top advisor, Stephen Miller, he was on with Bill Hemmer.
Yep.
Don't call him Bill Hummer. That means something else. Bill Hemmer of Fox News. And Hemmer can barely get out a question. And Stephen Miller goes off.
Doesn't he have an Alabama connection somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He was
the
refresh my memory again.
I think he was the comms guy and policy guy for Jeff Sessions.
That's what I thought.
No, he used to email me.
That's cool.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
can
you
we get
said
the
that
senator on the show with Greg Budell? And it is just, it's like a lesson for me. Like, you never know
where you're going to end up,
who you're talking to, where they're going to end up, where
That's
they're going
right.
to be.
That's right.
And I mean, but ambition and smarts certainly have played out for Stephen Miller.
sharp.
Well, there's a classic meeting that was profiled, I think, in the Atlantic, where it's Jeff Sessions, Steve Bannon, and Stephen Miller, and they are first meeting with Sessions, talking about we need a populist to run for president. Sessions wisely is like, well, that ain't me, but I love the policy, and eventually they land on Trump. And think about it. Early on, Sessions is, I believe, the first sitting senator to endorse Trump.
He was. And he was also, I think, instrumental in Project 2025.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. But here is Stephen Miller kind of laying down. Well, I'll just play the clip.
Number one, DOJ said a federal court cannot compel the executive branch to engage in any mandated act of diplomacy or incursion upon the sovereignty of another nation. So your argument is that you don't have to bring him back home, but will you?
So I want to correct, I hate to do it, Bill, but I got to correct you on every single thing that you said because it was all wrong. First, we won the Supreme Court case, clearly, 9-0. A district court judge said unconscionably that the president and his administration have to go into El Salvador and extradite one of their citizens, an El Salvadorian citizen, so that would be kidnapping, that we have to kidnap an El Salvadorian citizen against the will of his government and fly him back to America, which would be an unimaginable act and an invasion of El Salvador's sovereignty. So we appealed to the Supreme Court, and it said clearly, no district court can compel the president to exercise his Article 2 foreign powers in any way whatsoever. DOJ called me after that Supreme Court ruling, and they said, this is amazing. We won this case 9-0. We are in excellent standing here. So this has been portrayed wrong for 72 hours in the media. They said the most a court could ever compel you to do would be to facilitate return, which would basically mean if El Salvador voluntarily sends him back, we wouldn't block him at the airport. We would put him back into ICE detention, and then he would be deported either back to El Salvador or somewhere else. The Supreme Court said that is the most the government can be expected to do. So we won the case handily. The misreporting on this has been atrocious.
Okay,
Secondly,
I appreciate
he was
the
not, no, Bill, it's
clarification, that's the
important.
case.
He was not mistakenly sent to El Salvador.
Okay, so do you still
He's an
believe he
illegal
is a
alien
member of
from
MS?
El Salvador. Hold on, this is important. In 2019, he was ordered deported. He has a final removal order from the United States. These are things that no one disputes. Where is he from? El Salvador. Where is he a resident and citizen of? El Salvador. Is he here illegally? Yes. Does he have a deportation order? Yes. A DOJ lawyer who has since been relieved of duty, a saboteur, a Democrat, put into a filing incorrectly that this was a mistaken removal. It was not. This was the right person sent to the right place. Now, some have said, well, but he had a thing called a withholding order. So a withholding order means you've been ordered deported, but an immigration judge is saying you cannot go back to a particular country. Here's the thing. If you are a member of a foreign terrorist organization, you cannot have a withholding order. Since he's in MS-13, there is no withholding order. Furthermore, the gang that he is accused of being persecuted by doesn't exist anymore in El Salvador. The 18th Street gang is gone. So you have an illegal alien from El Salvador. Bill, where are we supposed to send the illegal alien from El Salvador?
You haven't even
to what
allowed me
country?
to ask you a question. Are you convinced he is still a member of MS-13? That was your original charge.
Yes. But here's the thing, Bill. Yes, but here, not only am I convinced of it, not only is El Salvador convinced of it, Bill, he's an illegal alien from El Salvador with the deportation order. So his only options in life, Bill, his only options in life are to be deported to El Salvador or to be deported to some other country. That's it. He has a deportation order. So, Bill, you tell me, what country should we deport him to? Tell me, please. Tell me.
So Marco Rubio on Sunday morning said this. On Saturday night, another 10 criminals from
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you have the El Salvador president visiting Trump at the White House.
As we speak, yeah.
And he's saying he won't return Abrego Garcia. That's who Bill Hemmer and Stephen Miller, going on quite a soliloquy there.
It was.
But he said he would not return this guy and called him a terrorist during a meeting in the White House, in the Oval Office with President Trump. I believe we can find some of what's going on today within the White House and that meeting, a bunch of different comments.
He called him an El Salvadorian terrorist, which was, I thought, interesting.
And Trump been fielding a lot of questions on a lot of different topics in this particular meeting. Let's see if we can get one with the actual
audio.
Yeah, here is, this is the president of El Salvador, young guy.
Yeah, he's very young.
Most of them are suggesting that I'll smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
I mean,
How can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the
United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was being asked straight up about that. Then the president is asked about how many more are going to be sent.
How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible. And I just asked the president, it's this massive complex that he built, jail complex. I said, can you build some more of them, please? As many as we can get out of our country that were allowed in here by incompetent Joe Biden through open borders. Open borders. You probably hear open borders and you can't even understand it because nobody can understand. Nobody smart or with common sense can understand it. So we have millions of people that should not be in this country that are dangerous, not just people, because we have people, but we have millions of people that are murderers, drug dealers. They've been allowed to come into our country by other countries that were very smart.
So it doesn't seem he's backing down from this.
He says incompetent Joe Biden. I think that's more premeditated. They knew what they were doing, and they were flooding this place. He was being very kind when he said that.
Yes. Now, apparently, the press just wanted to go ham on this. And one thing I find, it is a test, I think, of my so-called libertarian principles.
Yes.
When you think of El Salvador before this guy, it is essentially run by the different gangs.
Oh, absolutely.
It is the highest murder rate in the world.
It is a terrible place. I've been there.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
In fact, it's one of the most peaceful, lowest murder rates in the world. And they're bringing in a lot of investment and yada, yada, yada.
They're doing great.
And yet folks want to scream about human rights. I'm like, where were everybody's human rights before all this changed?
I'll tell you something. It's a fallacy. I think it's, like I said, premeditated. This is a design to destroy. If you're a libertarian and you value liberty, you should see that the storyline that's being fed constantly about human rights, about, civil rights, all these things, it's just a smokescreen to cover up what's going on. And I tell you right now, this guy here, he has been under death threats. He's faced everything down and he's made it. And now, like you said, it's becoming an international finance center. They're doing a lot of crypto. They're doing a lot of great stuff there.
Well, and this guy will really impress me. If you have to act like a bloody tyrant in order to be the biggest, baddest gang, to knock out all the other gangs, my hope he will really impress me, not just giving order, but if he continues to, and I don't mean this in like the worst sense of the word, but in a good sense of the word, liberalize and bring more rights now that you have that order, and bring more prosperity to the country. But here is the fake news. Apparently, it's going to be Trump, Stephen Miller, and the president of El Salvador all taking on the fake news. This is from the Oval Office.
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CBS.
Thank you, President. Do you plan to ask President
Low-rated.
Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly
Which one is that?
deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Miller, wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanting because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the president could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which is, I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world. And I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for him to get him back?
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it per the court can only be directed to him.
Damn.
I like it.
And what a scene. Like just looking at the whole scene like as like a painting.
Well, it's fascinating because here's the president of El Salvador eyeing Pam Bondi like a señorita. He's looking at it, but he's thinking, I think what's neat for that is he's seeing the play out of our balance of power, our separation of branches and talking. And he, I think, was taking it all in. And on top of it, I would say, when they talk about a illegal alien being a member of a recognized terrorist group, which is a combatant against the United States inside our borders. I've said this a dozen times, and I mean it. When they go ahead and they qualify and quantitate that kind of situation, you can use the rules of land warfare and the Geneva Conventions to show that you can execute that person on the spot. They are an illegal combatant without any ID from a sovereign nation, without a uniform from a sovereign nation. If they're a terrorist organization, they're at war with the United States. And that's when liberals start going on their tirade about what we're doing to them, I think you don't even understand the half of it. We could do so much more to them. But
now here's the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office explaining the transformation of his country.
Mr. President, it's an honor to have you. Thank you. You're doing incredibly for your country. And we appreciate working with you because you want to stop crime, and so do we. And it's very, very effective. And I want to just say hello to the people of El Salvador and say they have one hell of a president. Okay, and I mean that, and I know him well. I know him as a very young man, Marco, even younger than you. You know, he started pretty young.
He'll always be younger.
Young at heart. But I want to thank you for the great job you're doing. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be here in the Oval Office with the president and leader of the free world. We're very happy, and we're very eager to help. We know that you have a crime problem, a terrorism problem that you need help with. And we're a small country, but if we can help, we can do it. And we actually turned the murder capital of the world, that was the journalists call it, right? Murder capital of the world, into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And, you know, sometimes they say that we imprisoned thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions. So, you know, like,
it's very good. Who gave him that line? Do you think I can use that?
And in fact, Mr. President, you have 350 million people to liberate. Yeah. But to liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some. You know, that's the way it works, right? You cannot just, you know, free the criminals and think crime's going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism. And it can be done. I mean, you're doing it already. And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go because you're just initiating your second term. But it's clear that, you know, with the numbers at the border, you know, even in Democrat-run cities, they get a help from the work you're doing. So I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help.
Fascinating.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's just interesting how all these different characters from around the world fit into the, let's say, cast of what's going on in the world. Coming up, Trump was asked a lot of different questions. I don't know. Did you see the firebombing of the Pennsylvania governor's place?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
More anti-Semitism. More
It's
anti-Semitism.
crazy.
He security.
It's unconscionable, man. Heck, now, and we've got a clip of that piece of work. Taylor Lorenz. I was talking about it last week. If you don't want the nastiness that's bubbling up on the right or the left to continue to rise to the top, then we need success. We need winning, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because if things really do go off the rails, the ugliest parts of our society will be revealed, even more so. You think it's bad now.
Oh, yeah, no. This is nothing.
And I'm just taking that off of history. It's when the economic system goes under. It's when your basic institutions go under. And we already got a lot of mistrust and distrust out there.
The blame game starts.
Of those institutions. So I think right now what we're groping for is how do you come up with new metrics to showcase expertise?
Agreed.
How do you come up with new ways to show competence and to show that, yes, I'm authoritative on this or that issue? It's because I think there is a crisis of authority in so many aspects of our society, and we need that win. And I don't care if it's Trump and just the Republicans or if Trump can bring on more Gretchen Whitmers. It needs to be a broad-based win.
Absolutely.
That keeps some of the awful stuff like that. I mean, just the images of the governor's mansion there in Pennsylvania.
It was pretty extensive.
It's awful. You know, we got a lot of words for the folks on Goat Hill and for certainly Governor Ivey, but I wish nothing ever.
No. Violence is not the solution.
It creates more of a problem. And once it starts, violence tends to sing its own song.
It does.
You know better than me.
Ass-kicking violence, it cuts both ways.
And it's, I think and again, you would know this much better than me. As much as we have problems, man, we got it pretty good.
Brother, listen, let me tell you something. I tell people every day, you turn on that faucet to brush your teeth. You take it for granted that the water is clean coming out of there. Water is one of the most serious threats for most of the developing world. Clean water, access to clean water. We take that for granted. In fact, Colonel Holland, who's going to be calling in a minute, will tell you a story that when he was hosting some delegation of foreign officers coming from Central America, he stopped to get a drink at the water fountain at the Miami airport. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, this water's clean. You can drink it. They were just amazed that it was good water, public water.
Yeah, there's so many things we take for granted, and it's good to be reminded. But
we need to.
We got to hit this break first. This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage, and they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you out, whether you're looking to buy a home, or could be you just want to start the process, get pre-approval done, start the conversation there with Alabama Home Mortgage. You want to enter into the housing market, start looking for that dream home of yours, a home that fits you just right in this time and place. And could be it's not your first rodeo. Maybe you bought homes before, but you didn't like the experience when you went to that, flybynight.com or you went to that big bank. Why not go to a great local lender where they're the gold standard when it comes to actually helping folks get into a home? And if you're looking to refinance that home, I can think of nobody better than Alabama Home Mortgage. They're going to get you the best possible deal to get that debt off your back, or to invest in your property or yourself, or maybe you've hit retirement age. You want to just lower that monthly overhead. Give yourself a nice plan for the next few decades. They got your back in that regard. And especially if you're a veteran, they know the latest with the VA home loans and programs and what is available. Yeah. These are benefits you earn through your service, veterans. So take them up on it by calling them at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online. Get it going there at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. You're thinking of selling your home. Here are several ways to improve the look of your home and possibly the value. Number one, improve the curb appeal with trim bushes and cut the grass. Repaint the exterior where needed, and if needed, paint your front door. Number two, declutter the inside of the home by removing items that are not needed off countertops, dressers, and the den. 3, paint walls and trim where needed with a fresh coat of paint in a light color that will show off your home. 4, clean your oven and microwave inside and out, make it shine. Number 5, professionally clean carpets or shine the wood floors with a polish or Bona. 6, clean out all closets or unwanted clothes, shoes, belts, hats, and donate them to a local charity. Finish any leftover repairs now, doorknobs, light bulbs, and closet doors. For a complete list and an in-person evaluation and consultation, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama,
directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriffsYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
We've got a fairly good forecast for the week ahead. Storm-free, comfortable temperatures. In fact, today a warm-up is underway with a high temperature up to about 83. Plenty of sunshine. Clouds will be on the increase tonight, but we're dry. Overnight low temperature 60. Tomorrow, a little front swings through the area, but it's a dry front with mostly cloudy skies early, then clearing later. I've got us around 74 for the high tomorrow, 45 for a low on Tuesday night. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine. We'll be in the mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday, up to about 86 Friday with plenty of sun. Not a bad week ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Paul, if you want to call back, our guest isn't going to call until after 2 o'clock. Feel free. I mean, there are a lot of what-if scenarios, like what if a sun flare hits and knocks out the electrical grid? What if quantum computing actually takes off before we're ready to actually encrypt things?
What if AI takes over, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of, you got to wonder, what are the known unknowns, these sorts of things.
It's the things that you don't think are going to happen that happen. So
yeah, it's what you know that just ain't so. That's the most dangerous.
That's right, Murphy's Law.
So Trump didn't just address the deportation of folks to El Salvador or the border and whatnot in this Oval Office sit down. He was also asked about the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Let's listen in to the President of the United States.
Last night that Russia's attack on Ukraine was a mistake. What is the exact mistake? Have you given Putin a deadline to actually move towards a ceasefire?
The mistake was letting the war happen. If Biden were competent and if Zelensky were competent, and I don't know that he is. We had a rough session with this guy over here. He just kept asking for more and more. That war should have never been allowed to happen. That war, I went 4 years and Putin wouldn't even bring it up. And as soon as the election was rigged and I wasn't here, that war started. There was no way that war should have been allowed to happen.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty factual.
And I think there are a lot of off ramps.
Well, remember when his first term, there was talk about, you remember the little green men that was really Wagner, the Wagner group,
yes,
down in Crimea back in 2014-15, right? Mm-hmm. So when Trump saw that on his event horizon when he was president, after that, he basically told, and I've read several accounts of this, he told Putin, if you invade the rest or any part of Ukraine, I will start bombing Moscow tomorrow. And that's the...
Yeah, I've heard that story.
The rest of the world responds to the coherent and the credible use of force. You got to use force to reinforce it. And yeah, so, and you got to wonder, was the Biden administration part of the MIC, the military industrial complex? Sure.
And also, apparently the Russians reached out to the head of American intelligence and NATO in late 21 saying, look, we just need a new security agreement. Like, and we won't
nothing done.
And they ignored him. And then they send Kamala Harris to the Munich Security Conference like talk
like
about,
the
oh,
kiss
we're
of
going to
death.
bring Ukraine into NATO. It's just
Kiss of death right there.
It's absurd. And that's what's crazy. Even folk like Kissinger, who was all for NATO expansion, even Kissinger, as NATO expansion is going on, saying Ukraine is a special case.
It is because it's traditionally part of the greater Muscovite empire, but there's a lot of hatred in Ukraine towards Russia.
Oh, sure.
And vice
Especially
versa,
in the
because
western
of all
part.
the Stalin's killings of them.
Oh, yeah. The Holodomor and everything that went on there.
So it's a delicate situation, but I would say this about NATO. You don't need Ukraine in NATO. We've got enough.
Right.
Trust me, after this last go around, everybody's ramping up. And I think it's going to be a credible threat to Russia.
But the president didn't stop there. He's essentially saying this never would have started if I was still president.
That's
I
true.
tend to agree.
I agree.
And Biden should have stopped it. And you take a look at Putin. I'm not saying anybody's an angel, but I will tell you, I went 4 years and it wasn't even a question. He would never. And I told him, don't do it. You're not going to do it. And it was the apple of his eye, but there was no way that he would have done it. All you had to do is lower oil prices. If you lowered oil prices, Biden kept the prices so high because he made it impossible to get it. If you lowered oil prices, you would have never had the war. But you wouldn't have had it with me anyway. That war would have never happened. And I think it's a great abuse. So now what do? You get a country where 25% of its land is gone and the best locations, where millions of people are killed. You haven't reported accurately the death. And this was Biden's war, and I'm trying to stop it. And I think we're going to do a good job. I hope we're going to do. They lose 2,500 young people a week, think on average.
Wow.
Now
That's a
they're
lot.
Russians
That's a
and
lot.
they're Ukrainians, but it's 2,000. We don't care. It's like whatever it is. They're not from your country. They're not from mine, but I want to stop it. 2,500. It's a killing field. It's like the Civil War. You take a look. I look at the satellite pictures. This should not be happening in our time. Of course, our time can be pretty violent, as we know. But that's a war that should have never been allowed to start. And Biden could have stopped it, and Zelensky could have stopped it, and Putin should have never started it. Everybody's to blame.
I think that's a
pretty-
pretty straightforward,
I think it is
straight
too.
up assessment of the situation.
I
there.
think that he has matured a little bit on the situations from when he first came in office a month ago, with the ease of the what he believed to be the ease of rectifying the situation, because there's a lot of, as we were talking, a lot of ancient history there, and it's not just a wave of the wand to make it go away.
And you can have those serious moments, and it is high stakes diplomacy right now.
So realpolitik,
I
as
think
Kissinger said.
the reality is the Russians believe they have the stronger hand at the moment.
Yeah.
They're willing to lose more to continue to gain more.
Yep.
You better believe they would love to. I never bought they want to take the whole country. I think they would love to have Kharkiv. They'd love to have Odessa.
Sure.
And that would make Ukraine, what would be left of it, truly a rump state.
It
No
would be.
access
It
to
would
the
be.
to the sea. So
And some of the greatest minds came from Ukraine in the Soviet Empire. A lot of your engineers, space program people, they were all Ukrainian. So
well, it's just a shame. It really
It
is.
really is.
Like, and also, to what end? Like, again, this never should have started. Never should have started. Where you had so many you had off ramps before tanks even start moving. I think within a few weeks you had the Istanbul,
absolutely,
and like the Ukrainians are ready to sign, and then famously Boris Johnson sent by NATO and America to go scuttle that and say,
Scuttle
"Don't
that.
sign it.
Don't
We'll
sign
back
it.
you
I got
100%." Well, or how about the very successful counteroffensive by the Ukrainians,
Oh,
where
yeah.
they take back Kherson, they take back
They did.
Kharkiv.
They did.
Maybe you negotiate right then.
You know, my thoughts are this, and I say this: if we were going to commit and really support Ukraine and do, this is a very, very realistic. Had we mobilized our air forces and our forces, we could have knocked Russia out within a month. It wouldn't even be close. And the thing is, we see the fallacy of the Russian power and its machinery is not up to speed. They're still putting rivets on their stealth fighters. I mean, my point is this, Joey. If we were going to go all in, then damn it, go all in and do it. Otherwise, you're just propagating it, and it's actually perpetuating the misery for everyone. and the profiteering by the military-industrial complex.
So you've climbed that escalation ladder. Do you end up with missiles at Brandenburg?
I don't think so. I think what happens is this. Right now, there are people that want Putin out. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about this. I've worked in intelligence. They want him gone. And if he would order a nuclear strike, they would put a Makarov to his head probably and kill him and say, thanks, comrade, you're done. People want to live. Those Russians, they still want to live. They got children. They got families.
Well, and then with Trump, you get the very serious conversations like we're having, and then you get this.
And by the way, I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark. And one of the doctors
the greatest
said,
of all time.
Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of. That was the highest mark.
I love him.
I hope you're happy with that. Although they haven't been bugging me too much to take a cognitive, but I did do my physical and it was released. I hope you're all happy with it. I noticed there's no question, so probably you are. But the cognitive, they said to me, sir, would you like to take a cognitive test? I said, did Biden take one? No. Did anybody take one? No, not too many people took them. I said, what about Obama? Did he take one? No, he didn't take one either. I said, let me be the only one to take one. But I've actually taken them 3 times already. I like taking them because they're not too tough for me to take. But we had a great physical exam, so I know you're going to ask that. And the doctors who are total professionals, Walter Reed Medical Center, they're great people. And I visited a soldier that was badly wounded, incredible soldier, lost his leg. And we spent a lot of time with him. I mean, great with his mother. And it was really a very great thing. They do a phenomenal job. I just want to say, Walter Reed, I was there for 5-6 hours. You were there with me. But I took a full physical and it came out perfecto. So it's good. She got me for a little longer. And by the way,
came out
I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam. And I got the highest mark. And one of the doctors said, sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark.
This is incredible.
Oh, good God.
Pretty much, it's sort of like Napoleon Dynamite. I'm pretty much the best that I know of. I'm a great artist. I could draw ligers.
This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And their River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you with that roof of yours. It could be, you don't know if you have a problem or not, but you'd like to get an inspection done. The manufacturers say every 3 to 5 years, whether it's an asphalt shingle or metal roof. But why not do it on an annual basis? Because the inspections there at River Region Contracting are free. Always. That's free. And say they do find an issue. Well, they're going to write up that estimate for free. They love to sit down and educate their customers. Here's exactly your problem. Here's exactly how we're going to fix it. They show up on time. They get the job done swiftly and well. And they're insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that insurance claims process and make it a swift and easy experience. Not something people normally associate with dealing with an insurance company. That's River Region Contracting. They're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. They're the premier roofing company here in the River Region. Call them up today at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd Clark and the team there that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's Cleaning Service get your home in order. Families in the River Region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing swell. Fighting the allergies a little bit, but other than that, I can't complain. What's the score there today at Cohen's?
21-0.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. We had a couple of customers that needed some tricky stuff, the way that we had to handle some stuff for Michael Jacks, how he was going to get it installed, how he was going to try to chase the wall with wires. So, anyway, he got out there, he figured out what he had to do, and the rest of it was easy. You know, once he could figure it out how to do it, because the customer was stumped, and their buddies that came over to help them were stumped at how you could get a wire from point A to point B. But anyway, Michael Jacks had all the stuff that he needs and got everything done, got the television installed, got the audio system hooked up, and they're enjoying their new surround sound system.
Well, and folks, whether you're looking for brand new electronics like a surround system or a brand new TV, or you're looking on the appliance side, either way, the difference is often the service. Great products, but when you got folks installing it the right way where it's going to work, and they even take away some of the old stuff you ain't going to use anymore. I don't know. I've seen Michael Jacks work in person, and he's swift, but he gets the job done well. And in fact, you know, I'm in my 30s for folks who don't know. He was prepared to help me set up every app. I'm like, okay, I can handle the apps. Thank you. But I mean, that's got to be like that diligence and attention to detail makes all the difference.
Well, it's funny to us because while I know that you don't have an issue doing a lot of the technical stuff, you know, a lot of our customers are over 50 and 60 and 70, 80 years old. And, you know, when I see them leave because they have to go shopping, and I'm just thinking, you know, with the hiccups that we see customers have, and they have Michael Jacks to fall back on to allow them or help them muddle through the app because YouTube TV is locked up and they can't figure out what to do. And that's not even a Cohen responsibility. I mean, you know, it's not, I can't fix YouTube TV,
right, but
I can help reset the television that resets the app and everything. But you kind of wonder what happens to those people. You know, do they just sit there and suffer until their grandkid comes over and can help them? You know, because there's so much intimidation with so much of the electronics today.
Well, and it makes all the difference, folks. Great products, but excellent service there at Cohen's. You can always shop from home. Look online at thinkcohens.com. But I really encourage you to stop by in person, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael and say, hey, I heard you on that radio show with that Joey Clark fellow.
That's right. Y'all come see us, ask us some questions, let us ask you some questions, and let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Appreciate it, Michael.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Michael.
Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Southern California rocked by an earthquake near San Diego. The U.S. Geological Survey says the earthquake had a preliminary magnitude of 5.2. It was near the mountain town of Julian. No injuries. Talks between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's nuclear program have taken place in the Middle East. Speaking on Air Force One, President Trump said he met with envoy Steve Witkoff and that talks in Amman went very well. Hungary's parliament has passed an amendment to the constitution. It allows the government to ban public events by LGBTQ plus communities. And in Chicago, public school teachers have a new contract without a strike. The 4-year agreement includes pay hikes, hiring more teachers, and class size limits. On Wall Street, the Dow had 399 points, the NASDAQ up 156. This is SRN News.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
It was a nightmare. We felt stuck.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-989-1771. 800-989-1771. 800-989-1771.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
We've got a fairly good forecast for the week ahead. Storm-free, comfortable temperatures. In fact, today a warm-up is underway with a high temperature up to about 83. Plenty of sunshine. Clouds will be on the increase tonight, but we're dry. Overnight low temperature 60. Tomorrow, a little front swings through the area, but it's a dry front with mostly cloudy skies early, then clearing later. I've got us around 74 for the high tomorrow, 45 for a low on Tuesday night. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine. We'll be in the mid-70s Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday, up to about 86 Friday with plenty of sun. Not a bad week ahead. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
The Alabama House recently passed a bill that addresses the issue of human cloning. HB 380 was sponsored by State Representative Philip Rigsby and would make it a Class C felony to engage in human cloning. Rigsby says this technological advancement requires the state to make a firm moral and legal stand on the issue, and that not all scientific possibilities align with what is ethical or safe. The bill does not apply to things like in vitro fertilization or other ways in which an infertile couple is helped to conceive a baby, but with the performing or production of a fully developed human clone. Rigsby says his bill is similar to legislation that has been passed in the state of Arkansas. The only no votes on the bill were the Alabama House Democrats. The bill now heads over to the state Senate. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A woman is in the hospital in critical condition after being shot by her husband. Maria Camano was shot in a mobile home park in Wilmer. Her husband, Refugio Camano Lopez, then turned the gun on himself and was pronounced dead at the scene. The Law Enforcement Academy out of Tuscaloosa has now graduated 39 new officers. The 14-week training session concluded with a graduation ceremony this past weekend. 39 officers will be assigned to 20 different law enforcement agencies across the state. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
We all want access to care and coverage we need to stay healthy, but Farm Bureau health plans aren't the answer. They are unregulated and unreliable when it comes to covering you and your family. If you have cancer or another pre-existing condition, well, you'd be out of luck. Alabama deserves better than empty promises. Call your state legislator now and tell them to vote no on Farm Bureau health plans. Visit fightcancer.org/Alabama. It's time for real health insurance.
Paid for by the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Program, final hour here on a beautiful Monday out of Montgomery, Alabama. He's been in studio with me all day. Troy Carrico here, keeping me company.
Yep.
And we have a guest you've lined up, a friend of yours.
I did, yeah. In light of a very important date, the United States Air Force Reserve components have celebrated their 77th birthday, I believe. And he can talk more about that in a minute. But why it's important is it provides over half of our combat power. So it's very important to recognize that key component of our standing deterrent for military force. This gentleman is a close friend, someone that's accomplished a lot in his life. Besides being a B-52 driver and carrying nuclear weapons around, and keeping us safe while we slept at night under the mutually assured destruction and part of the nuclear triad. He's like Dr. Strangelove in there, with Chet Atkins there at the end, trying to ride, or Slim Pickens, riding the bomb down. But he's a great man, St. Louis Cardinal fan. Other than that, he's okay. But we don't hold that against him. Former LeMay academic director and the defense attaché for Bolivia at the end of his career. So, sir, thanks for coming on.
Colonel Chuck Holland.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, guys.
Great to have you on. So as like we look at 77 years for the Air Force Reserves, I mean, what's maybe the best way to talk about this day?
Well, so like Troy just said, they have a very, very important part of our national defense posture. And it's been evolving over time where it's become more and more an integral part of the Air Force. When they first stood up after World War II, it was sort of an effort by the Air Force to maintain a large force, but the government decided we didn't need a large military. That was the war to end all wars version 2. So they cut everything back. And in order to maintain a force of airplanes, they instituted a reserve program where guys would just come in for a weekend and serve a couple of weeks a year, and the airplanes would kind of just, be a mothball, maintained, flown every now and then. And then Korean War kind of disabused them of that peaceful world that we're going to live in. So they started a reserve program where they would augment on a more, steady, a bigger basis, the active duty Air Force. And it's evolved over time. Then it was mostly transportation airplanes. I think there were some bomber units involved in Korea. But in Vietnam, they got more and more involved, mostly there again with transportation, military airlift command airplanes. One of my neighbors, when I grew up in St. Louis, was flying C-124s out of Scott Air Force Base. Every, once a month or so, he'd take a weekend off and fly all the way into Tonsanut and back, dropping off supplies. Anyway, and then over time after that, the Air Force sort of continued manpower-wise to shrink, and so they started to bring the reserve unit back into a more active role. And now they actually share where we have squadrons that are wings, I guess, that have squadrons of reserve unit and an active duty unit sharing the same airplanes. And they're flying everything we've got now, as far as modern equipment. F-35s are doing Reaper missions. So they're a very, very integral part, and really can't tell the difference between a reservist, a National Guard member, or an active duty Air Force these days.
So, sir, the 187 Tactical Fighter Wing is a good example of that, correct? They're flying the F-35-2 Lightning, the latest version, and Colonel Cinco, our friend DeMeo.
Yeah, that's okay. They're part of the reserve forces, but they're actually an
Air National Guard. But we're talking about, I think it is the Air Force Reserve, but all of it is integral, isn't it, for our defense posture?
It's all part of the reserve component. The Guard and the Air Force Reserve proper make up that those two together make
9228. I apologize, folks, if you're
He's
watching
calling back
online. He's calling back
He's
in?
calling back in, he said.
Okay, very, very, very good. Because we're in midstream, I don't want to cut that off.
It was pretty good.
Well, and I love that there are all sorts of different ways people can serve. Looks like most reservists serve part-time.
Sure. A lot of them do. I started my career out that way, and I found out quickly that in the military, if you're in the combat arms, whether it's infantry, artillery, aviation, whatever it might be, you're going to get tapped to go down range. And then a lot of people will flip that into active duty tours. They couldn't do it. Our military could not do it without the reserves and National Guardsmen. That's something.
Well, and we're waiting for his call, but over 200. I was able to grok this before the internet went out. Over 200 career fields are available.
Yes.
Range of pilots and engineers, medical professionals, cybersecurity experts. As you just heard him say, I guess some drone operations.
Sure,
too.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal right now. The remote operators.
As somebody who is a pilot himself, flying those fortresses up in the sky, you got to wonder what's his thought on the drone.
He has some very interesting thoughts on it. And I would say this, he always tells me, Troy, the last B-52 pilot has not been born yet. Think about that. The last, because this thing's scheduled to go into the 2030s and beyond to 40s, almost 50. That means that aircraft's over 100 years old at that point. That's amazing.
Let's see if we have the Colonel back. Colonel Holland, are you there?
Yeah, I am. I don't know what happened. That was weird. I kept in a busy signal, but anyway, I'm back, at least temporarily.
I think it was somebody around the grounds. They didn't want us having this wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
While I was filling time, I couldn't help but wondering, you as a pilot yourself and mentioning people are doing more and more drone operations in the reserves and I'd imagine across all our Air Force assets. Like how do you feel as a pilot about the unmanned aircraft taking over more and more missions?
Well, it seems inevitable with AI and everything that's coming along. But, I think pilots like to fly, so I've kind of mixed emotions about it. I like the idea of having remote, robots and stuff, or, airplanes without pilots and them getting shot at. But, flying's the name of the game. So I probably feel, I've got some mixed emotions, but I think it's probably a good thing to have less people exposed to the rigors of combat, the dangers of combat.
So he's talking about there's a program called Loyal Wingman for the Air Force. You may have heard of it. And it has autonomous drones that fly in pattern in conjunction with the data feed controls on the F-35. And it can just shoot out, drones to go fight opponents or take rounds for it. So it is kind of nice. So.
Yeah, those drones are kind of out on the leading edge, and there'll be a real smart airplane and a couple guys behind it directing the fight without actually getting into the football. So it's a good thing.
Now, I was looking at some of the basics here for the reserve. Folks could actually, maybe somebody's interested. I'm looking at basic requirements are 17 to 39, so somebody could still go join up if they wanted to.
You could get a direct
there's
commission.
a lot of guys that serve time in the Air Force and go over to the reserves and then go be an airline pilot or something like that. So they're quite a bit older than they were when they first came in. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
They also, sir, tell them about direct commission. Tell them about direct commissioning too. If you have a college degree, like your niece, she could possibly come into the service, couldn't she, as a lieutenant, and then go to OCS, right?
Right. You just apply
There's a lot of opportunity.
Accepted. They'll, if you're in the Air Force, they'll send you right here to Maxwell and go through a bit of a training program and get commissioned as a second lieutenant and go off into the
college degree.
Yeah, I think
it's cool. There.
And I'm looking at something like 70,000 reservists, give or take.
Yes, roughly.
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love learning about the different aspects of this, because you hear like Air Force, but you don't realize the many different opportunities that surround folks. And it is amazing that it's now 77 years in the air, and to think there were folks who are saying we'd never get off the ground, and now look at what we're doing.
Well, exactly. And the reserve, I just want to mention real quick, the Air Force Reserve in particular, they do almost all the hurricane and weather stuff, which is kind of important to us down here in Alabama. They're the ones out there flying those C-130s into those hurricanes. Active duty Air Force has no capability in that area. They also do aerial spray missions and herbicide stuff, but I also saw a picture of an airplane that was spraying some kind of something that would break up oil on top of the surface of the ocean after that big spill down in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
The Air Force Reserve did that. And the other thing, they also work with the National Guard to fly fire retardant missions out of C-BACSA. They have a big pump thing they put on a C-130 and spray fire retardant during the forest fires and stuff. So those are all missions that the active duty Air Force has nothing to do with, and it's all Air Force Reserve and the Guard.
We have to be careful, sir.
Niche roles too that are pretty important.
We have to be careful, sir. We talk about chemtrails. Then it's going to be chemtrails is what everybody's going to be talking to us about after you said spraying stuff out of the aircraft.
Well, yeah, okay. They can also spray fertilizer, I guess, if they have to.
There you go.
So
There you go.
it's a matter of what the National Command Authorities want to put in the airplane for them to, spit out the back end. So,
Well, I hope this was a odd first time talking because of us getting cut off. I have to admit.
Yeah, that was weird. I apologize. I don't know. I live out here in the country, so sometimes the connections are a little iffy. But
yeah, I think it was on our end, sir. Hey, tell them real fast about your time on the START treaties,
yes.
strategic limitations, and when you were at Stratcom.
Okay, so when I was at Stratcom, I was in plans and policy and division. My branch did all the arms control stuff, and it was mostly nuclear START. I was there during the last months of the first George Bush administration before Clinton came in, and he was trying desperately. George Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, was trying desperately to get a START 2 treaty signed before he left office. And so right around Christmas time, we got involved with the then Soviet Union in Geneva. And so the Pentagon sent a team over to do negotiation, and Stratcom, where I was at in Omaha, sent a small team of 2 people, myself and another guy, to go and augment the people in D.C. in the Pentagon that were supporting the guys in Geneva. And we got involved in the arms control talk there. It was pretty fascinating, and it was interesting. Well, it was all that trust and verify stuff. The Soviet had the exact same approach. It's like, everything we suggested or tried to, try to get into the treaty, they were very suspicious of, as we were of everything they tried to do. And it eventually got signed, and there's a whole big regime of testing, not testing, but verification that came along with it. And of course, we eliminated a lot of weapons. So I personally later got to go watch them blow up some Minuteman silos and watch them chop the wings off a B-52 down at Davis Moffin in the boneyard there, which is sort of a sad moment. But that's what we had to do to verify that those airplanes and those missile silos were not capable of delivering weapons. And we also were doing and going over and observing that stuff over in the Soviet Union too. So it ended up working out, but it was just kind of interesting how they sort of had the same approach to us that we had with them. And I had never thought about it that way. Like, why wouldn't they trust us? We're the United States, but they didn't. So anyway.
Well, and almost, I fear that there's almost been some backsliding on some of these gains there near the end of the Cold War. It's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's we could talk about that for a long time. I'm not sure how capable their stuff is, to be honest with you, based on what I'm seeing in Ukraine. And of course, we got other players trying to get nuclear weapons too. So it's still a really dangerous and kind of a wormy area that we don't really have complete control over. That's for sure. And even if the United States and now Russia came to a perfectly clear agreement, who's to say that Pakistan or Iran or this is, it's a crazy time. So anyway, and something to be concerned about.
Hey, sir, tell them about how you co-authored the defense policy for the nation of Bolivia.
Yeah, that since that government has now gone away, I can probably talk about it. But one of the things you do as an attaché, you get involved in a lot of stuff that people don't really realize, I guess, that aren't really in the business. But yeah, I got asked to help a guy that I had gotten to know. He was my student at the War College before we went back to Bolivia. He was a lieutenant colonel in the Bolivian Air Force. And he got asked because he'd come to the United States if he could help the Bolivian military come up with a national military strategy. And so he came to me and asked me for some help. So we kind of used our national military strategy as an example. And I told him the first thing you got to do is have a national security strategy. So we kind of wrote or came up with what we thought the Bolivian national security strategy should be. You know, eliminate narcotics, stop human trafficking. And then the national military strategy looks at that national security strategy, and they take their piece of that. So the Bolivians did a lot of coca eradication, so they had a piece of the counter-narcotics effort. They had some border patrol stuff that they did, so that was kind of stopping human trafficking, and they did support democracy by not having coups. So all that stuff came together, and he ended up writing a document, and it ended up being published at least for a while as the Bolivian nation's security strategy, national military strategy, and then, you know, I got to help him. So it was kind of fun. You know, I felt like I had a part in maybe moving Bolivia a little further down the democracy road. Anyway.
Didn't they have a revolution right after you did that?
Yeah, kind of funny, huh? About a year later, the government, entire Bolivian government, fled to the United States with suitcases full of $100 bills, and a national news figure, kind of like a Mike Wallace of Bolivia, took over the government for about 18 months or so. That all happened after I left. And then this is amazing to me, the head of the illegal coca growers union got elected president. It'd be kind of like Jimmy Hoffa ran for president and got elected in the United States. And he ran the country for a while. He was kind of a Hugo Chavez socialist, protege. Their image, and his name was Evo Morales, which I always thought would be a good name for a movie villain. But he ran the country, and he was the head of the guys that were growing the illegal coca. It was an interesting time in Bolivia for sure, different from living here.
Well, it sounds like a heck of a career, and I really do appreciate your time today, sir. I don't know. I think my grandfather's a little older. You ever run into a guy named Ron Skonecki?
I did not. I retired in 2005. So
okay.
He might have. You're probably a lot younger than me. I'm guessing he was probably there after me, maybe. I don't know.
He's 88 now, so he retired a lot earlier than that.
Okay. So yeah, he was there during the hardcore sack years when Kurt LeMay was running the show and everything. That was.
Oh yeah.
I just want to mention one thing. Air Force reservist. Bill Anders, who was in Apollo 8, was an Air Force reservist, and my favorite hero of all time, Jimmy Stewart, was an Air Force reservist, retired brigadier general.
Darn right he was, and he was a hero.
Notables on both ends of the age spectrum of the Air Force Reserve. So anyway, a very colorful unit, very, very important to the United States, and their footprint and their importance. Their mission continues to grow as the Air Force and our military evolves.
Well, I appreciate the time, sir, and appreciate Troy setting us up here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. And maybe look forward to talking to you another time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
He's a great dude.
Again, that is Colonel Chuck Holland, of course, retired, as you just heard him say.
Yep.
But yeah, there are many aspects, and I didn't know, like, if I really felt like it, I could go sign up. Right?
Joey, you could get commissioned as a second lieutenant. Then you have to go through OCS, which at the Air Force is like day camp for. I mean, it's not.
Really
you play
is.
ultimate frisbee for PT, for God's sake.
I think they do like pickleball now.
That's what I'm saying.
What?
Something like it. It's gravy. It's gravy.
And you wouldn't have to go anywhere.
Your
that's a
candy
good
ass would
break.
be fine. Your candy ass would be fine. You'd fit right in. I'm joking.
No, I would have to look
You
for the right
could
option.
be a lieutenant.
Here, let's hit this break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
At Guardian Credit Union, if it's important to you, it's important to us. We don't do banking differently. We do relationships differently. Want to secure a HELOC for home projects? So do we. Want to build your credit? So do we. Want to plan your next vacation? So do we. We're here to help with whatever's next, because whatever you want in life, so do we. Stop by any of our branches and let's plan your next step together. Guardian Credit Union, where you belong. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Opportunity. NMLS 912757.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
David Little from Tucker Pecan is with us, and you've got some casseroles that are absolutely outstanding and wonderful. And you've even got a breakfast casserole.
Yes, we do have 2 breakfast casseroles. We've got a hash brown casserole and a Kiss My Grits, which will jump up and bite you. It is so good, Bubba. It is one of those wonderful things we have at Tucker Pecan, but we also have meals like the Mama's $1 Million Spaghetti and beef stroganoff. And what else we've got that a lot of people don't know about is we have steaks. We have 8-ounce fillets that are vacuum packed and cut. We have twice baked potatoes. We have ribeyes. We have all these great things. And you know what? We make the twice baked potatoes at our place, so you know they're good, along with candies, pecans. But we also have great chicken salad, pimento cheese. We have the Blue Moon cheese, which has olives, chili sauce, all those great things in it. So you know what? If you want something good to eat, come see us at Tucker Pecan. You can come see us at 1935 Mulberry Street or 132 Company Street in downtown Wetumpka. Check us out on the web at tuckerpecan.com or call us at 262-4470 or like us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Woodward, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Radio is an active medium. It can create immediacy, driving shoppers to a specific store, brand, or to take a specific action. Radio ads engage with the audience in a personal and unique way. Contact me, Cheryl Woodward, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. No bumps in the road this week. It looks like a pretty smooth week ahead. We got a little weak front on the way, but it's a dry front. Tonight, clouds increasing. Overnight low temperature down to about 60. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy early with sunshine later. High tomorrow, 74. Boy, Wednesday and Thursday look great with plenty of sunshine, up to about 74 on Wednesday. I think we'll be near 80 on Thursday. And how about a nice warm 86 Friday, plenty of sun? From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
ASD Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASD.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get on the conversation. And Pamela is now joining us. How you doing today, Pamela?
Good. How about you?
Oh, I'm all right. Life's all right. I think I can make that work. Troy Kerka also in studio. And Troy, I forgot to let you know that Romex Angler has been, what was he saying?
I just responded to him.
Yeah, he said the big time pimp wear for Troy today.
That's right.
That hat.
White hat,
And
white
he said
threads on the
stitching
black
on his
shirt.
shirt. He said, "That's your club wear." I'd wear something much more suave than that. But
Yeah.
thank you. This is my casual wear. And Joey, he also said that I got to be careful hanging out with you. You might ruin my street cred.
Oh, really?
That's what he said.
I have none. In fact, I have negative street cred.
They don't even know who you are on the street.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
You
that
don't go
way.
out.
The
You don't go out.
anonymity is preferred.
Listen, that's the way you operate below the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Howard Dean on line 3. Hey, Howard Dean.
Hola, amigos.
How you doing?
Well, the only street cred I know is that you don't. They'll always say it because they didn't see it coming. You know, they'll talk about it, but they don't really know. So that's street cred. But anyway, so your last guest was really awesome. I wanted to be in the Air Force when I was younger. And so I studied every plane, the schematics, the blueprints. You know, I go to the library all the time because I'm a geek. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't be Howard Dean. So that being said, I wish he was still on because I wanted to ask about, I think it was the F-20 Tiger Shark.
It's a Tiger Shark, which was a derivative of the F-5 Freedom Fighter.
Okay, and so that being said, and Chuck Yeager was the test pilot on that, and I believe your guest was Chuck.
Yep.
I can't remember his name, but man,
Chuck
I would have
Holland.
loved to ask him why the fact that because that shark nose to me kind of seemed like it looked like the X-wing fighter nose, and it would have been perfect to deflect. You know, if you believe in space and all that. But anyway, but you could get a lot of good with that dip of the nose and still have that extra little balance on air and such, because I understand.
You know what's funny?
You know what's funny?
Yes, listen, I want to share something with you because he's talked a lot about this. He flew T-38s, which are a supersonic trainer, which was the part of the lineage of the F-5 Freedom Fighter, which then became the F-20. And the F-20 was specifically designed as an export model. They were not shopping it in America, which a lot of people thought they could because it was a low-cost solution, very, very agile.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It was a test plane, wasn't it?
It was originally. That's how it started.
In the day.
That's how it started life as a T-38.
Yeah, I
yes.
lived outside of Point Magoo, and I wanted first time I ever seen the Blue Angels, and I think it was 1984, 86. They were at Point Magoo, and they were still flying the A4s,
Wow.
the Delta Wings.
Yeah, Skyhawks.
All I wanted, and then they went to the F-18 and started, pancaking themselves on railroad tracks because it was too much engine. But I appreciate that little inside. Man, that's wonderful to even hear.
Let me tell you, he's got some stories. He's a really incredible individual. He's really he's an accomplished aviator. He flew the Buff carrying the B-61. He brought the heat when he flew. His mission was to fly out of Ellsworth Air Force Base over the North Pole into Russia, and then they had several different targets in Russia. And then if they made it, they had a cash card to go to Pakistan, get more gas, and move on.
Yes, that's amazing. And if I can just have just one little more time,
we can get it back on.
The SR-71.
That's true.
I don't know if it would seem like it went out of commission shortly thereafter, this was back in the 80s, at McDonnell Douglas Air Force Base at an Air Force or at an air show, and to see the rings in the jet, after burners, I'm like, that's why. And then I moved to Vegas and everything and then I ended up becoming a rock and roll star from.
That's funny.
Anyway, I
You're
love
funny.
you, man. Thank you for that information, but that was really helpful. I always wondered just why that nose didn't work, because I always thought it was perfect.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Great
It looks
white
good.
sharks.
It does look good.
Obviously, looks don't have nothing to do with longevity.
Well, it was a neat aircraft. I thought it could have gotten a better chance, but it was made primarily for export, because by that time the generation fighters had moved on a little bit beyond that design. So
Right. So did any country pick it up as a
Thailand bought a few, and that was it. And it just think about it though. They got a lot of use out of it. It was a T-38 trainer. Then they made the F-5 Freedom Fighter, and then they made that. So it was just gravy for them. Any icing on the cake for them. So
yeah. And so thank you. That just a whirlwind of a couple of minutes of information, my friend. Thank you, sir, and I appreciate you doing what you do, and thank you for making us aware.
Appreciate it, Howard Dean.
Joey, I love you, brother.
Love you too,
awesome, man.
Later.
Love you guys, buddy.
All right,
we're gonna need to get the Colonel back on. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, the interruption kind of threw me off there. Who pulled the plug
Who
here?
pulled that? You go? Did you? I thought it was a headphone jack over here, and he said, "No, Troy, it's not you."
No, it's not. It's not you. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Sam calling from Pike County.
Hey, Sam.
Troy, I had a few pointers, a little bit of information I wanted to give Joey.
Absolutely.
I was working full time. There was a period where I got to stay on gunner. I was full time Army doing some work.
Yep.
And I love to put on my PT outfit. I'd go out and do the commander's course, a little 4.5 mile.
Yep.
Oh yeah, man. Yes, if you're gonna be a proud Army man, do it on the Air Force.
That's
base.
right. They wear that. That's right.
And the food was fantastic.
Oh, it's the best. They have ice cream at the end of every meal.
Oh man. But here's the deal. But here's the deal about the physical fitness. I like to use the gym at Gunner.
Yep.
Because it was always empty. They basketball. They shot good hoops. Man, you get good work. And the aerobics class. Joey, I met some very dedicated, wonderful, attractive airmen in the aerobics class. They turn out for that. So I just wanted to. Hey, they had a beautiful day. How you guys doing? You sound great. I just
No, I'm doing great. I'm letting y'all just snipe at one another.
Hey, listen. How about this one? How about this one?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you go down to Tyndall. They play ultimate frisbee on Friday. There's ice cream at the end of every freaking meal, and then they wonder why they got a fat boy program going on at Air Force. I'm just saying. Army fit to fight.
Fit to fight. Army excellent.
Army fit to fight, baby. That's
Thanks,
right.
Sam.
All right, man. Thanks. I love the Air Force. I'm just kidding. Fight my eyes weren't bad. I would have.
Is there a little bit of a rivalry between the different?
No, it's the Army Air Corps. You're the Army Air Corps. Remember, your job is to put steel on the ground, on the mud, through air superiority for the infantry. That's all you're supposed to do. Army Air Corps. They don't like that. They spend all the money. They got the best lodging. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect at the Air Force bases.
Pamela, anything?
You know, my favorite place I ever went was Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh, Fort Lost in the Woods.
Yeah.
That's hell. That's kind of an armpit for the Army. Why did you like it?
That's where my tech school was, and I loved it.
So
at the
you were
chemical
an engineer? Well, you went to chemical school. That's right, because they
Yes.
moved that from Anniston,
Yeah.
Army Depot, down to there.
Yeah.
So you
I
liked it there.
loved
I've
it.
never heard anyone say they liked Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh my gosh, it was great for people who love to be outside.
Oh, it's a great, no, the Ozark,
and
near the
there's
Ozarks.
nothing around. Like I mean,
That's cool.
You know what's outside the Army post, but
Well, there's always a few.
yeah, but
You know,
but there's really
gentlemen's clubs or something.
nothing to
So you
do
enjoyed
around
it
there,
there.
and I
You
loved
enjoyed
it.
it there.
Yeah, I did get bit by a brown
Brown
recluse
recluse.
while I was
Ugh.
there.
Yeah, that was nasty.
But
So how long was your course?
3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 months. Yeah.
Did you were in the chemical corps?
Mhm.
Did you ever see the video? And this is Joey, it stays with me to this day. I've
Is
told
it goats?
No, it's worse than goats.
Okay.
I've seen the goats too,
Okay.
the Soviet ones and the stuff. There was a video, it was about blister agents, but it was a time picture video, and the scene opens and it's in black and white. It's got a woman's head that's been removed and it's on top of like a tray. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about.
Yep.
and it said Anniston Army Depot, 1953, February, whatever. And it said exposure to exploded blister agent. And it had a time hack on it, like 12:01.
Sure.
12:04. It shows face there, but a little bit of like swelling, a little bit in the jaws. Then like 5 minutes later, it started to show this blister, like a fever blister forming. And then about 10 minutes down that, her tongue turned to cauliflower, came out of her mouth. It was the most frightening thing I've ever seen in my life.
Believe it.
No, it was terrible.
Just you describing it.
She was a assembly tech, and it blew up on the assembly line there, and she was killed. And then they did that to show the effects of it. It was frightening. And so then when you do mock training, right, and you're mock 4, and you're thinking, you better get that shit sealed because, stuff sealed because it's going to kill you if you don't.
Oh, yeah.
And then they give you the atropine, which is just morphine derivative. It gets you high before you die.
Right.
That's all
Just
that
to
is.
make
It
it
slows
a
your
little bit
body,
easier.
slows your body rate down, right? So you're not
Yeah.
quickly metabolizing. So it's frightening. That stuff's frightening. Biological.
Yeah,
warfare
and
is
they
frightening.
show you that when you go through.
It's pretty frightening.
Because you have to take it seriously when
course.
you wear that
Amen.
gear
Of
and
course.
know like what's at stake. But
You
we
ain't kidding.
went through live agent training
Yep.
and everything at Fort
I
Leonard
believe it.
Wood.
I
Yeah.
believe it. You did the CS, but that's nothing compared to what you can
No.
be exposed to. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Cool. I didn't know you were a Chem Corps.
Yeah.
I like
It's
you even
cool.
more now.
I know. That it was at that career field has less than 10% women in it. That's why I was always with men.
All the dudes, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah.
There's
I
mean,
I'm
the-
sure you stood out. I'm sure you were capable on your own.
You were like the
I
little
liked it a
sister
lot.
there.
Yeah, the little sister. Mhm.
The voice
the
of reason.
taller
The voice of reason
little
too.
sister.
The voice
Right,
of
that's
reason.
pretty
The
always
voice
great.
of reason. Don't do that. That's not a good idea.
Right.
Right.
Guys,
Guys, come on. Come on.
Well, I got to hit a break here, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And hey, fellas, if you're feeling run down, if you're not feeling like yourself, like you're never in the mood, you're thinking about, well, maybe I'll try one of those like online generics. No. They're expensive and they usually don't work. You need to get something specific to you. And if you're looking for great local folks that can figure out what's going on with you, again, whether it's unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, no sex drive to speak of, lack of energy, motivation, and drive, well, why not stop by Montgomery Men's Health? And the providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. It's really just a quick blood draw. They ask you a few basic quality of life questions. And if you do, in fact, have low testosterone, they have treatments there that can truly change men's lives. Men after treatment can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym.
Brother.
That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism. You usually even notice an increased libido. In fact, they have therapies there. You can start feeling better the same day you stop by Montgomery Men's Health. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
With spring officially here, Pizza Perfect has sprung a great deal for April. Get a free order of breadsticks or cinnamon sticks with the purchase of any large pizza. That'll make the whole family smile. Pizza Perfect's amazing buffet includes pizza, as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13. The buffet is available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Pizza Perfect is also available for pickup and delivery. Pizza Perfect on Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The River Region's News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones. And, well,
What was that?
I don't know. I've been messing around with
Hey,
StreamYard.
like Kissinger, I have my feet up on the desk. Go, I'm in charge now.
Let's go to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray.
Man, how are y'all doing?
Good.
We're good.
I am not believing it's Monday morning at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've never been so grateful to see Monday morning in my life. like this past weekend.
What happened?
Well, we had the baby reveal at our house on Friday. We're having a baby girl.
Oh, congratulations!
And if you ever need a balloon bouquet, like a balloon arch, call me. I do a fabulous balloon arch. It was the best one ever. I don't know how I get stuck always doing balloon arches.
Maybe you're good at it.
Well, no, Angie don't like tying the balloons to the girls. So they're like, well, I'm dead, and I can't say no. So they say, I'm building the balloon arch. And then Sailor had prom Saturday. You talking about going to different parts of your life over one weekend? Baby reveal on Friday, prom on Saturday, and a 2-year birthday on Sunday. Literally went all over the world in our life this weekend.
Wow.
I told Angie, I said, I hate to be like this, but I am looking forward to Monday morning. I can't wait to get to the office so I can have a break.
Family man through and through, Ray. I love it.
Sometimes you just got to put your pen down and go and deal with being a girl dad. Like, I'm walking around the Capitol taking pictures with this beautiful yellow purse, and all the guys were sort of picking at me. I said, hey, this is my third one, and I'm going to wear it with pride and joy because you don't know how quick they grow up. Next thing you know, you're having gender reveal parties and 2-year-old birthday parties for grandkids. So, guys, y'all better enjoy them because they are gone fast.
Yeah, before you
and
know
I'll tell you
it.
what else is fast is if you call Private Carpet at 285-8117, we're going to come run as fast as we can to give you that free measurement. And next thing you know, you got a floor down.
It's really that easy and simple and quick of a
Let
process.
me tell you, I had your guy David out, and we are going to use you guys for the flooring. I'm going to tell you, Joey, within 36 hours they
That's
they
awesome.
had to come all the way down to Pensacola where I live. So Ray, you guys are on it. I'm going to get with Chris here now. We had a funeral up. A good friend of mine died, so we're a little bit behind the power curve, but I'll get with him after tomorrow for sure. So.
Sounds great. Well, if y'all need anything, call us 285-8117. We'll come out and give you that free measurement.
It's amazing.
And when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to say, hey, I heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark fellow.
That's right.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
You too, buddy.
Appreciate it. So did we learn anything today? I mean, we got about 7 minutes left here.
Well, Trump's cognitive test has revealed that he is pretty much the best of all time.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was like the best score.
Are we shocked? No.
No, not at all.
No,
he probably
I'm not,
is.
I'm not surprised.
He's a
at
legend
all.
in his own mind, I think.
What do you think about this all-female crew that went up on Jeff Bezos' rocket?
I'm trying not to think about
Looks
it.
like a reject music group, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like,
it's just-
the Spice
okay,
Girls
cool.
part 2. Yeah.
It does
you
nothing
just
for
don't.
me.
You don't want to think about it.
No. Well, I mean,
Do you find Jeff Bezos'
Good for
rocket
you
attractive
guys.
to you? Is that rocket attractive to you?
I didn't see it.
It looks like
It
well,
really.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just dudes being crude. It's
Let me
It's
look it
like
up.
flaunting it.
yeah,
It's like,
especially
look how big
compared
my
to like
rocket
what
ship- look
the
up-
Falcon 9 that SpaceX does,
God,
or
yeah.
any of the.
He's
like-
more of a shock artist.
Yeah, this is more like, whoa, there, Mr. Bezos.
Blue. Look at that.
Uh,
Tell us
but I
what
mean,
you
it looked
see.
like they had fun up there
they
for a
had
few
fun.
minutes.
They were giggling. They were
And
carrying on.
microgravity, floating around hair all over the place. Like,
I'm not sure what they really achieved scientifically up there.
yeah, I
but,
don't think. I think this is literal space tourism.
It
That's
has
all
to be,
this is.
yeah,
I guess they did
promotion.
this with Shatner
Yes,
a few years
I
back.
remember that. Yes.
And it's a quick flight. It'd be quite something to go on. But I tend to more prefer the SpaceX missions because they often have a point,
They're
other than
utilitarian. They're
just the fun of it.
utilitarian. What did you learn today?
I learned that Trump
internet.
is very much in charge.
Yeah. Okay.
I learned that I am still eligible. Did you just look up the?
It's sorry.
Yeah. Why?
You see what I
Because
mean?
he
It's
can,
not just
because
us
he
being
has so much
dudes.
money he can. Want to take a ride on my big rocket ship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Let me
come on,
just put a
man.
bunch
Come
of
on.
women in this thing.
it's incredibly phallic.
It's obvious. Yeah.
Like I've seen, ancient like porcelain
Right.
sculptures that
Yes.
like remind me of that rocket.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I learned that I'm still eligible to join the
You
Air
are,
Reserve.
you are.
Yeah, you are.
And we also learned that the internet is capable of going down here from time to time.
Yeah, that kind of just threw me for a loop. That threw me all out of sorts. We learned that this El Salvador president
I like him.
got to play.
He reminds me of
Play
a
at
poor
all.
man's version of Malay from down in Argentina. He's like, no nonsense, cozying up, man.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not going to return the terrorist to the USA. I mean, and talk about a very happy meeting in the Oval Office.
That was neat.
We also learned on the trade front, China halts critical rare earth exports to the U.S. No surprise there. While Trump team provided a short-term exemption to things like phones and microchips and electronic products, though a tariff specifically on those will be coming soon. They're not part of the reciprocal tariffs. And I want to see if this is on one. You're on there. Who's this?
This is Randy.
Hey, Andy. How you doing?
I'm good. If you believe that Carrie, what's her name, that 5-woman thingy went up there, but you noticed that the shape of that spaceship?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
We noticed.
And so, I know, I just got out of my job. So, but do you really believe that those women went there and then they're saying, "Oh my goddess, oh my goddess"? We all know about them, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. So, come on, man. The Earth is flat. There's a firmament over it.
Oh, no.
Down.
Eddie, is that you? Eddie, is that you? Eddie? Eddie.
Man, I really want Bezos to take a bunch of flat earthers and send them up in his phallic rocket, like just to have them their minds blown.
Like that.
What makes more sense? Have you ever heard of the gravitron?
Yeah.
So why is there a wall holding us there? Because if, as an example, come on, man, you smartphone, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, gravity. It's so stupid.
My wife argues with me all the time about gravity. She goes, "It isn't a law." I go, "It is around here, mister. Okay, it's the law around here. Let me take you on the roof and show you."
Yeah, I've been out in the middle of the Bering Sea, and the Gulf of Alaska, and I didn't see land for a month. You know what? You see a circle because of perspective. It's round, flat, round, because it's not going to stop at a square and then come back. But due to perspective, but you don't see a ball type thingy. You see a roundness, like flat round, because that's the way your eyes perceive it, not a ball. There's not a round and a curvature, if you get what I'm saying. I mean, you guys are smarter than this. Come on, man.
No, I don't.
There is at 70,000 feet. I saw it.
It's impossible if you're at 70,000 feet and you saw a round ball.
Not a round ball, but I saw a curvature.
Unless you were looking through it. Of course you did, because you weren't high enough. It's circular, not globular, if you get what I mean.
Just a flat disc, like time.
A plate as opposed to a round ball.
Sure, it's not hot dog shaped?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I bet you wish it was.
A chili dog.
If you're going to come up with an kind of stupid answer, come on. I'm trying to be serious.
You're trying to be serious?
Right now? Okay.
Well, yes, but he's going to tell me, "Oh, you sure the Earth ain't hot dog shaped?" No, it's all the list like that black dude that said it was looked like a peach. No, it doesn't. Come on. Why can't we get a real picture of it?
What bona fides? Tell me how you know that.
Well, because I learned it on the intro net.
Okay, that's cool. That's a start.
But no. Okay, so you see what's on the intros,
right?
Net, and then, like I said, I've been out in the middle of the ocean for a month and a half without seeing any land, and it's completely flat unless there's 35-foot swells.
Yep.
But the swells but you don't see when you look out as far as you can look on the flattest, there's no wind for 3 months. It's just completely flat as ice. You're going to see a circle, but you're not going to see a globe. Yeah. That's the whole point, is all I can say.
I think we're saying the same things.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm not convinced either way.
What? Really?
I'm not.
You're indifferent about it right now. Huh. Fascinating.
I've read a lot online. I do. I get into the rabbit holes pretty deep.
Yeah, they're there.
And I just can't say.
Thanks for sharing
can't
that,
say
because
either
I didn't
way.
know that.
I'm willing to entertain different ideas.
Of course.
Well, no, it's just good that a certain word has come back into acceptable parlance these days. And it's also good to know that the retarded can also do research. Thank you for listening.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.